And I am telling you, I'm not going. You're the best man I'll ever know. There's no way I can ever go. No, no, there's no way. No, 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 no way. I'm living without you. I'm not living without you. I don't wanna be free.
What up, Kayla? What up, Kayla?
Happy Friday.
I'm staying. I knew you're gonna love me. Oh, you're gonna love me. And I am telling you, I'm not going.
Hey, too well, what up?
Even though the rough
David Campos, what up? West Coast Bell, what up?
We're part of the same place. We're part of the same time. We both share the same blood. We both have the same mind. And time, we've had so much to share. No, 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 no way. I'm not waking up tomorrow morning and finding that there's nobody there. Darling, there's no way. No, 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 no way. I'm living without you. I'm not living without you. You see, there's just no way. There's no way. Please don't go away from me. Stay with me. Stay with me. Stay and hold me. Stay and hold me. Please stay and hold me. Miss man, try mister. Try mister. I know you can. Tie down the mountain, yeah, scream and shout. You can say what you want. I'm not walking out. Stop all the rivers, push, strike, and kill. I'm not gonna leave ya. There's no way I will. And I am telling you.
What up, May Night 296? What up? Come on up here,
I'm not going.
Come on up here. Listen to the chat.
I'll ever know. That's no way I could ever go. No, no, there's no way. No, 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 no way. I'm living without you. I'm not living without you. Not living without you. I don't wanna be free. I'm staying. And you. You're gonna love me.
Hey, Juror, what up? Jimmy Harris, what up?
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Love me. Love me. Love. You're gonna
Ladies and gentlemen, the showroom at Caesar's Palace is proud
go,
to
let's
present
go, let's
Gina
go.
Jones and the Dreams.
Man, I tell y'all what, Jennifer Huston can go, can't she? Kayla, what it do?
Happy Friday, everybody.
Happy Friday. How are you today?
I am tired, but We gonna make it.
We gonna make it. Yes. To be Black Native, come on up. If you want to help us read, come on up. Johan will be on a little later. Be the Light is in the building, y'all. Be the Light. I want to kind of shout her out because she is the mother whose daughter Mia has not been heard from in going on 6 years now. And my heart goes out to her. Y'all have seen her story on my channel a few times where she's come on and done interviews, and she has so much evidence that it's the Chicago police playing with her, detectives playing with her, and it's just crazy. But she now has a channel, and I love her channel, what she's trying to do, which is empowering and giving women or people, men too, voices to speak who have missing children or have lost children and things like that. So Be the Light, if you would please, if you know how to, post your link in my chat. And y'all, I want everybody on here to go support her channel and subscribe to her channel, please. That would be really awesome if you could do that. Okay, to be okay. I would like us to support her. Okay, so y'all look. So tonight, we are actually. What's up, Rodney Williams? What's up, bro? Would you believe, K-Love, that we're on day 2 now?
It's going by kind of fast, to be honest, but I am bracing myself because I know it's gonna get bad tonight.
Yeah. It is. And so what we're gonna do is let me see where Riri at. Riri and Tanya. Let me see where they at. Let me see. Hold on. Let me see here. Let me see something. So what you do today? Anything special? Did you relax after work? Yeah.
I got off work early. Hung out with the family, not much.
Okay. All right, that's all right. All right, so she's coming on. Let's see, Tanya. Tanya, let's see here. Can you join us? Okay. All right, cool. What's up, Diva Time? Diva Time. Anybody out there that wants to come on and help us read and be a part of history, you're more than welcome. When I tell y'all that there's nobody doing it like we're doing it over here, if you can read pretty decent, come on here. Help us read these transcripts. It'll be a lot of fun, and I can see your acting skills and how you can bring this thing to life with us, okay? So let's go ahead and let me pull this up. Let's see here. Share my screen. Let's see. Share. Okay. So here is day 2, y'all. It is really about to get crazy. Okay, it is about to get crazy. So this is day 2. Let me just kind of read through here. If anyone else comes on, I'll hear you and I'll click you in. Okay, but let's go ahead and get started. K-Love, we'll just make it work the best we can with just us two until other people come in. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So we got United States District Court.
Hey, Atmos, can you take off the banner so I can see?
Yes, ma'am. Let me see how I can. Hold on. Let me get here. Hold on. Oh, I'm sorry. There we go.
Okay.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's better.
Awesome. Okay. All right. So here we go. So United States District Court, Southern District of New York versus Sean Combs. Okay, I just heard somebody else click in. Riri!
Hey, what's going on? Hold on, I gotta
Riri.
get off my TV. There we go. Hey, what's going on, everyone?
I'm great. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Hey,
all right now.
All right. Let's go ahead and get this thing started. Riri, I hope you're ready today because you know this is day 2.
Yes, I am ready.
Okay. All right. So let me go back to here. So this is the trial. This is on May 13th. Honorable Arun Subramanian. And appearances, obviously, we know the lawyers, Jay Clayton, United States Attorney for the Southern District of New York, Madison Smizer, Emily A. Johnson, Maureen Comey, Meredith Foster, Steiner, Slavic, and Assistant United States Attorneys. Also, we have the defense, Mark A. Agnefidio, Tenny R. Garagas, We had Anna Estavio. Let's see. You had Shapiro. You had Driscoll. You also had Donaldson, who was really active yesterday. Brian Steele, who started the whole thing off. And he's a beast, as we all know. So let's see what we're doing today, y'all. So here is the judge is going to start this thing off. So y'all are going to hear different voices. The ladies are going to do what they can do with the voices also. And we're going to be about to bring this thing to y'all. Okay? So let's go ahead and get started. We start off with the judge in the morning. 2 juror issues. One is from Juror 160. And if you recall, I believe this is the juror who indicated that her son was graduating from high school. I believe in June. I take it that she wants to make sure that she can attend her son's graduation. Y'all hold real quick, y'all. I'm sorry. Hey, yo, I'm live. I hit your back. Okay, sorry about that, y'all. I got to keep the phone on because my employees out here working, so I'm got to be able to answer if they call me. All right. We could keep our people late other days. We'll make up the time. She's going to write a letter to me, which I'll share with you so you can understand what the issue is, and we can understand what the issue is. But we haven't received that yet. Hold on, y'all. There we go. This morning, we received a letter from Juror 75. I'll share this with you, and we'll make the court Exhibit 1. He says, I live in Manchester, Westchester County, with my wife, who is 75 plus. She has a cancer. She's a cancer survivor. We have been married for 40 years. My wife's caretaking needs are very specific and precise, and therefore are present. I am the only one who can take care of her, in addition to cooking and cleaning the house on a daily basis. I hope you will take into my account my unique situation, that which I am responsible for, the well-being of my wife, who will be greatly appreciated if my request for an excuse from the jury can be granted. So this is the letter. Share this with the parties. Now, I will get Juror 75. I will get to Juror 75 so he can come in and explain the situation. But based on this, I would not be inclined to excuse the juror.
Wow.
And I don't think that he's asking necessarily to be excused. I think he doesn't know the situation and whether it's kind of optional. And so he's suggesting that if it is possible to not have him serve on the jury, then he would take that route. However, I don't think this provides grounds to excuse the juror at this time, and that's what I'm thinking. But we'll hear from him. I'm just putting that on the radar. Let's get Juror 75. Juror is now present. We've received your letter, and I read it. First of all, I understand the situation with your wife and that you would like to take care of her. You know, we went through this long process of jury selection to identify issues like this, and this is not something that came out in jury selection. But right now, you are on the jury. All right. So you have to stay on the jury, okay? Okay, no problem. If something serious happens, then you can let me know. Right now, what I'm asking or understanding from your letter is that you're letting me know that you're responsible for. Yes. Now, unfortunately, once we have the jury, then it's your service. You know, it's what you're required to do. I, have no doubt that you're going to do it to the utmost care and concern. Is there anything I should be concerned about if you're on this jury? Do you think that you could do it and live up to your responsibilities as a jury? Yes, I can. Sir, yes, yeah. If something happens, it's serious, you would let me know. And just like, you let me know with this letter. Sure, I will. Do the parties have any questions for the juror? Miss Smizer, go ahead. You can do that one. K-Love, and go ahead.
No, Your Honor.
No, Judge. More communication is always better than less communication. Thank you. Juror's gone. I think it was consistent with what I thought, which is he wanted to let me know. And look, he's coming from Westchester. That's just, a long trip for him. I think it was consistent with what the letter said, that he's prepared to serve. He's going to be careful and conscientious. He'll let us know if anything more serious happens. I took this more of a heads up than anything else. Any application from either side? Ms. Slavic, go ahead, Riri.
Not from the government.
Not from us. We'll continue. I'll let you know if we hear anything from 160, and we can head out and address the issues you've identified for today. All right. Mr. Agnifilio, should we wait for Mr. Combs, or are you prepared to address the evidentiary or other issues without his presence? I mean, if he's up, I'd rather bring him out if possible. Okay. We'll have a letter from the jury that we addressed with the parties, and will be made court exhibit. Next on the issue of access to these sealed exhibits, the videos. When do we anticipate these being offered into evidence? You can do Ms. Johnson, Riri.
Your Honor, anticipate potentially offering images from these videos as early as this afternoon. I do think that the government would oppose the application that was filed last night if the court would prefer for the government to try to rework its direct examination so that we can reach these issues tomorrow to allow the government an opportunity to put in a submission this evening. I can do that.
Why don't we do that? I have to say that I'm inclined to grant the application that was made for reasons that I previously addressed, which is we've made certain adjustments for certain of witnesses, but in a very limited way. As the government indicated, this issue is different. This is about evidence that's coming into this case, and treating that evidence in a different way than the other evidence here because of the understandable and palpable and real issue of privacy and personal interest of the witness. Now, however, that has to be balanced against the usual First Amendment protections and the rights of the public to know about what is happening at trial. While we handled a lot of things under the seal before trial has started, we are now in the trial. And so there's a heightened First Amendment concern in this context. I'm not seeing how we would navigate that certain in this instance. I'm also a little bit concerned, and maybe the parties are not, that there is a potential impact on the jury when certain evidence, especially given to the content and the nature of the evidence, is signaled to them to be such a nature that the courtroom has to be cleared and they're the only people that can see it, and what message that sends to the jury. So are my concerns, which I'm happy to give you. So those are my concerns, which I'm happy to give you a chance to address in your response. That's you, Ms. Johnson.
I found it. Sorry about that. Thank you, Your Honor. If I may I respond briefly to those, and we'll respond more fulsomely later.
Of course.
I want to clear at the outset that the government nor the defense, I believe, anticipate clearing the courtroom. What would happen is that the materials that were very small subset of materials that are entirely sexually explicit or involve nudity of victims and others would not be shown to the public gallery. It would not require any logistics of people leaving the courtroom. To the extent any of those exhibits have any sound that it's also sexually explicit. We have arranged for headphones to be available for everyone in the well of the courtroom so that So that sound could be played without impacting people's needing to leave the courtroom. So there would be a sort of no shuffling in and out to the extent of logistics are factored into the court's consideration. But just on the nature of what these materials are, they are all sexually explicit or involve nudity. And the parties, and I believe the attorneys for the victims, one has already submitted a letter. I believe that the other victim will also want to be heard on this issue. We think we're on a good standing in the Second Circuit to keep this type of material out of the public record, and we'll certainly put in a submission on that. So I just want to flag those two items for the court.
Mr. Agnifilio? Yes, Judge. Look, I think the timing makes sense. My read of the cases, my close reading of the application for unsealing, really the focus is on how good we are at tailoring the materials. I do agree. And so it's just a few observations as we think about this throughout the day, and I think that it makes sense if the government can get to this tomorrow. Now, we can all have a little bit more time to figure out, how we tailor this. Now, there is no aspect to any of the videos that I think the government is looking to put into evidence that is not in the nature of adult pornography. Now, that's really what it is. It's people who are nude, who are having sex and are about to have sex. It's all sexually explicit. So it's not the case that, anything would be looked to be sealed. That's not sexually explicit. So, we couldn't really tailor it any more narrowly than that. Our application, to the extent that we have one, and want to see how this all shakes out. Now, it's only that the visual images and the audio is within the purview of the sealing order. The parties would be free to tactfully, of course, ask questions about the evidence. So we wouldn't be looking to do anything in regard to testimony. The onus would be on the parties to do this in a tasteful way. Obviously, so we're not looking to affect testimony. We're not looking to do anything other than really address it's the privacy issue. But it's also, I think it's not insignificant that this is all in the nature of pornography. Now, and so my question is, what would the press do with this if it had it? And I don't know. I don't know what it's not that they might provide an answer, but I think that, a useful answer. What would the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times do with this information? If it had it, if it's in nature of adult pornography, I think that's a useful way of approaching the issue, because it's not as though there's some body of information that can be reported as is the case sometimes. Other legal matters are unsealed, and the papers can, write about the information in there. We're really only looking to address the visual images and what is said. And I agree with my colleague. It's all sexual in nature, completely. So as we're thinking through the day and, the government starts to put together their response, and we do the same, I think the focus should be on how we tailor this in a constitutionally exceptional way. Now, there is no doubt that the First Amendment is very much in play in this analysis. So, the onus is really on everyone trying to do something that's contrary to some degree and to the First Amendment to do this in the most narrowly tailored way possible. How many exhibits are we talking about, and what's the running time of the exhibits?
With respect to the next witnesses, there will be no videos that will be at least on direct examination. It will be in the nature of 6 still images. And Your Honor, I can flag these for the court if Your Honor would like. We've provided chambers with the exhibits, so if you would like to review them, I can direct you to the exhibit numbers.
Do you have the numbers now?
I can.
You can have them emailed to chambers. That's fine. Briefly, does anyone on behalf of the news organizations wish to be heard on this issue, given what Mr. Agnifilio has said and what Ms. Johnson has offered? Please approach. You can approach the lecture. Good morning, sir. State your name. Mr. Ballin, Robert Ballin, Ballin, of Davis Rat Tribune or Tremaine of the news organizations. You heard Mr. Agnifilio. He says that the approach that parties were intended on taking is a narrow one. The testimony would be in open court, and the only thing that would be under seal would be the visual images and video and associated audio that is purely reflected sexual conduct. So, y'all hold real quick. Hold on. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. Okay, let me tell this person text. Okay, what is this? Okay, okay. So under those circumstances, there is still an objection, or under the circumstances, it is narrowly tailored into enough to satisfy the First Amendment interest at stake. Well, I think that's prohibited by any public or press viewing of these videos would not be narrowly tailored. Your Honor is correct. I mean, the First Amendment is at the ninth zenith. What, baby? Okay. At the ninth, at a zenith, in this type of case. Now, in a criminal case, there are, some serious charges. Now, the question is how we accommodate what we're unquestionable privacy interests. Now, I would say that the testimony is not a substitute for these videos. Now, if it were the government would not be putting in stills, would not be putting in videos, they obviously think that they have some persuasive value. Now, it is important that the press, the people through the press, be able to see justice being done. Now, one of the issues in this case, Your Honor, of course, is where these acts are consensual or coerced. Now, the best evidence of that, of course, is the videos themselves. Now, if the court is not inclined to show the videos in open court, and that is your preference, Your Honor, there are other ways. And the court does have to consider constitutionally other ways besides the total sealing to accommodate the First Amendment access rights. Now, another option, of course, would be pool reporters. We could talk about, a number of them, but at least, some representative of the press who can see these videos in real time as they're, being shown to the jury and be able to report. Now, in the New York Times and the Washington Post and the Wall Street Journal are not interested in reporting anything salacious. They want to be able to, however, to report this was shown to the jury and here. Now, in a very discreet, inappropriate, and mature way is what they show. Now, that's no different than any other trial, Your Honor. So we do strongly, and I mean strongly, object to the total sealing of the exhibits. We think that they should be shown to the press and the public. Now, and in the courtroom, I add, Your Honor, that we're not asking for copies of these exhibits. Typically, that would be part of the press access. Now, we're not asking for copies, but we do understand the serious privacy concerns. And we ask the court to try to craft something that not only has the privacy concerns considered, but the very strong First Amendment access right considered as well. That's our submission, Your Honor. Missy Johnson, as you're crafting your response, you'll take account of that proposal from the news organizations.
Yes, of course, Your Honor. And I just I just wanted to make sure when I have answered the court's questions that I talked about just the next witness. There are videos the government intends to introduce later.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Now let's move on to the exhibits in the other issues pertaining to Mrs. Ventura. So first on the two issues, Mr. Agnifilio, we discussed the Rule 404 issue. And just to make sure that we're all on the same page, when we discussed this last week, the government agreed that to the extent that they would open the door to in introduction of unrelated acts of violence by asking, for instance, Miss Ventura, if she's a peaceful person, I think that that was an example given. Then you'd approach. We discussed whether the door in fact was open, and you could potentially be able to address these incidents separately. Now, you raised the issue of Rule 404, and we discussed briefly yesterday, and I didn't get a response. So, what is your position on Rule 404 issue? Go ahead and read Mr. Stavo Caleb, please.
Your Honor, good morning. I'll be cross examining Ms. Ventura. We are no longer seeking to admit those instances for purposes of showing her character in any way or even for door opening purposes. As I informed government counsel, we're no longer planning on introducing evidence of her assault of the security guards. However, with respect to her assault, her brother's birthday party in Connecticut, there is a relevance to that assault because it comes up in the context of the messages between, scroll up, Miss Ventura and Mr. Combs, as it relates to their relationship and their arguments stemming from infidelity and drug use in particular. And I can add more specifics, but
Let's see if there's any other issue with that. Miss Johnson?
Yes, Your Honor. We still strongly oppose that we reiterate that we are moving to preclude any cross-examination of this incident in its entirety. It is a prior bad act that was very limited that has very limited accessibility on examination. It does not go to her credibility, and it is simply irrelevant that there are communications about this particular act. Our application is that it should be excluded in its entirety.
Mrs. Stalvo, how are you getting that in?
in the context of a text communication between Miss Ventura and Mr. Combs, she is in Connecticut at her brother's birthday party at a bar, and he is in a separate state. He is upset that she is not answering her phone, and this relates to their arguments about his suspicions that she is cheating on him. In response, she is not answering her phone and eventually says that she did not answer because she got in a bar fight and tried to kill someone. So this relates to their arguments about his suspicions that she's cheating on him and her responses to that. It relates to her in addition to her substance use and abuse outside the context of their sexual relationship, and in fact, in another state with her family nearby and her support network and his knowledge of her continued substance abuse. So it all relates to the context of this conversation and their continued arguments. The government's argument is that the violence stemmed from their sexual relationship, and a large part of the cross examination is going to establish that that is not true. It's related to infidelity and drug use.
So, how is it that not trying to introduce evidence about Mrs. Ventura's character or character trait?
Well, in this context of this conversation, it's irrelevant whether or not she in fact got into a fight, but the fact that she told Mr. Combs that he believed that and understood that it is relevant.
and connect the dots. I mean, you're saying that because he thought this would make him jealous or be related to the theme, or maybe there's some domestic violence, but there isn't coercion. I mean, can you help me understand the relevance?
Sure. So much of their relationship and their arguments stem from, first, I'll take infidelity. Her not answering the phone and being unavailable when they're not together. And so this response, it relates to the entire conversation about her not being present. In fact, I believe there are messages or there's evidence to support that she got into a fight because she believed someone was taking a photograph of her, presumably with someone that she did not want Mr. Combs to find out about this.
All right, understood. Miss Johnson, can you respond?
Your Honor, I just wanted to respond. So I'm trying to be a little circumspect because we're talking about evidence that the government believes is clearly inadmissible, but it is
Well, the jury's not here, so you don't need to circumspect.
the photo. It is pure speculation that a photo would have shown that she was with someone else. The defendant can cross examine her on infidelity. It can cross examine her on all of these themes. It is entirely irrelevant, and it does not overcome 403 to bring up this particular act.
That's what I'm trying to understand. And now I think you're helping me. Your objection is grounded in now Rule 403 based on this particular version of the issue. Making previously, we had talked about 608 and the 404. Now, I assume Mrs. Stavo is saying that we're not trying to bring in this evidence in either of the two grounds. It goes to, I guess, Mr. Combs' intent. Is that right, Miss Estavo?
That's right.
Okay. Then, and then you're saying, Miss Johnson, that it's not really relevant to this intent in any meaningful way.
Correct. It's certainly more presidential than probative. The government does still strongly object under 608, but this should they can cross-examine all these topics, but this particular prior bad act is completely irrelevant for his intent. And there are many other ways of establishing that they are far less prejudicial.
May I respond briefly? I believe the government is trying to argue that Mr. Combs was forcing Miss Ventura to take substances, and that was the way that she was induced into participating in their sexual activity. And a large part of the cross examination of the defense will be that Miss Ventura independently took many substances on her own. And this shows that she was taking substances in such a way and to such a degree that she was acting erratically and nowhere near Mr. Combs. And in fact, another state and surrounded by her family members. And Mr. Combs knew all this because it's in the context of the conversation and her telling him this.
All right, understood. I will overrule the government's objection to the introduction of just that evidence. I understand that, as the other incidents, those are out, correct?
That's right. And it is just in the context of the text message exchange.
Now, as to the introduction of prior consistent statements, Ms. Johnson, there's three pieces of evidence I'm not understanding how the defense addressed these in the opening in a way that would be just a generalized attack of credibility. So maybe someone can help me with that because I understand that, you know, hey, hold on, y'all. Hey, you in the house? Okay, what's going on? Okay, I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. That was work. Okay, here we go. All right. Okay. So maybe someone could help me with that because I understand that there the bulleted statement from the opening that you say are more than just a generalized attack on credibility, but none of those statements address, even indirectly, any other particular pieces of evidence. Now, all we're really talking about is a sequencing issue. This is just a question of whether these three pieces of evidence can be refused on direct examination or should be reversed for rebuttal. But I'm happy to be convinced that I'm wrong. All right, so Miss Foster can be read by, let's see. Okay, y'all can just bounce back and forth. Go ahead, read Miss Foster, please.
All right. Yes, Your Honor. So I'll address this point. As Your Honor noted, there is clearly a generalized attack on Mrs. Ventura's credibility.
Absolutely.
They implied that she had a financial motive for testifying. They implied that she would see messages that would contradict her testimony. And so I agree with you on that matter. As our letter to the court has made clear, you don't need to attack a specific statement in the opening. You just have to make an attack that is sort of logistically related to the prior consistent statement, and that would rebut that attack. And you don't need to make the attack explicitly. You can sort of imply it. Here, the opening, the sort of central theme of their opening was that victim one, or Miss Ventura, had agency. This was not coercion. She was the person who made her own choices. She decided what she was doing. In fact, there's a line in their opening that was like, who really had control in this relationship? And that was in the context of discussing their relationship. That was in the context of discussing Mr. Combs and Mrs. Ventura's relationship, clearly implying the answer of that was Mrs. Ventura. So in each of these ways, I would say that this is the central theme. And so when they attacked Mrs. Ventura's credibility, generalized, and then made this claim that you're not going to see coercion, you're going to see a grown woman making her own decisions. Each of these statements, well, two of them sort of specifically rebut the claim because they show that Mr. Combs, he controlled her career. She had to ask him for permission to take certain actions. He had control over her. Can you scroll up a little bit? Her phone, her laptop, her car, and the ability to take that away from her when he was angry at her. And so another sort of central thesis of this opening was she was doing various things because they were in her best interest. And so when you have these statements that show, well, actually, if she does something to upset him, he's taking things away from her, and he has the power to do that. That does rebuke that sort of central thesis that they made in the opening. I would also say one of these statements is much more specifically attacked during the opening, and that was that is Exhibit B315, where she talks about the threats to release the sex tapes. They said in their opening, basically, I'll quote, does Combs release the videotapes that the government was talking about? No, he doesn't. You will hear that the government raided the home. They seized the electronics and the only video that you see or hear from the devices that she kept. And so clearly, this is an attack on any claim that he had the power to release these videos and make these threats to Miss Ventura.
Okay. I'll hear the from the defense briefly.
Good morning, Your Honor. So the statements made in the opening were more of a very general nature as to the overall defense, and all those exhibits are very specific statements regarding very specific alleged incidents.
What about with respect to D315?
So, a couple of things about that. First of all, to the extent that those two exhibits are admitted on direct for non hearsay purposes. For instance, the fact that she said that and that she sent the email to those people, we do not eject. We simply would submit that they're not admissible as hearsay under the prior consistent statements exemption until redirect if she's attacked on this particular point.
Well, help me with that, please. If you can come in, and then they're coming in. So you're saying that you don't object to those.
No, we're not saying that. So, to be clear, what we said in the opening was very different and was not specific to the particular alleged incident discussed in this email, which occurred in 2011. All that we said in the opening was that Mr. Combs.
You don't disagree with the account of the opening, which I think was quoted from the opening. Is that right, Miss Foster?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay, y'all. I'm going to play a song. I need like 2 minutes. I got to send this email to this customer. I apologize. I'm working at the same time. So I'm going to play this music and then I'm going to come right back. Y'all let's take about 5 minutes, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Thank y'all.
Baby, I know you're not used to man keeping their word and following through on what they say. But I want you to know that I'm here for you. And I'm not going nowhere. Come here. Lay your head down on my shoulder. Yeah. Promise you don't have to shed another painful tear. Because I'm your man, I'm your man, I'm your man, I'm your man, I'm your man. And I ain't going nowhere. We gon' make it through this thing called life. I'm your man, I'm your man, I'm your man, I'm your man, I'm your man. And we gon' ride, we gon' ride.
Awesome.
Still remember the day I looked into your eyes. You caught me by surprise. That walk, that talk, the way you made me gravitate towards you. It changed me for the better. You're all I need, and you're all I see. And you're fine as wine. I'm so blessed tonight. You stole my heart right from the start. When you said hello, I saw your glow. Hey, I'm your man, I'm your man, I'm your man, I'm your man, I'm your man. And I ain't going nowhere. We gon' make it through this thing called life. I'm your man, I'm your man, I'm your man, I'm your man, I'm your man. And we gon' ride, we gon' ride. Hey, if you ever been in love, put your hands up. If you tired of the lies, put your hands up. Wave them high up to the sky. If you ever been in love, put your hands up. If you tired of the lies, put your hands up. Wave them high up to the sky. I'm your man, yeah, I'm your man, I'm your man. And I ain't going nowhere. We gon' make it through this thing called life. I'm your man, I'm your man, I'm your man, I'm your man, I'm your man. And we gon' ride, we gon' ride. I'm your man, I'm your man, I'm your man, I'm your man, I'm your man. And I ain't going nowhere. We gon' make it through this thing called life. I'm your man, I'm your man, I'm your man, I'm your man, I'm your man. And we gon' ride, we gon' ride. Lay your head down on my shoulder. Yeah, yeah. no matter what you do. And I hope you understand me. Every word I say is true. 'Cause I love you. Baby, I'm thinking of you. Trying to be more of a man for you. And I don't have much riches, but we gonna see it through. 'Cause I love you. Oh, 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 some men need lots of women for their passions to feel. But I want only you, girl. If it's in, if it's in, if it's in God's will, 'cause I
All right, y'all, we back. I apologize for that. All right, see if y'all back. Let me know when y'all back.
I'm here.
I'm here.
All right, perfect. Okay, let's continue. All right, so I'm going to start over at the court. This is how I see it. There was a suggested meaning, an implied suggestion to the jury that there was no threat to use the videos in any way because when there ultimately was an investigation and the search warrants were executed, he didn't have those videos. The only people who had them were people like Miss Ventura. I think that's a fair implication that you're saying that she's lying about there being videos that were used in any kind of leverage against her. And so the government is saying, well, we have this text message exchange that addresses this issue. And so why doesn't that fairly fit within the rule?
Well, Your Honor, I don't think that's a fair characterization of what we said in the opening because what we said in the opening was very specific to what the government found in 2024, 13 years later, and that the only videos that existed at that point were the ones on her devices. And that shows that he wasn't keeping the videos. We didn't specifically discuss any threats or respond directly to the idea that there was an allegation of a threat in 2011 that's referred to in those emails. So, what we would say is that for that reason, they're not admissible as non hearsay on direct as prior consistent statements. We would not object to them being admitted for the non hearsay purposes with a limiting instruction that at least for purposes of direct are not coming in for the truth. And then if cross examination occurs on those topics, they then can be admitted on redirect. Since that hasn't happened yet, the predicate for prior consistent statements hasn't been met by the opening.
So I believe that the predicate for application of the rule in prior consistent statements has been satisfied as to B315, given the statements made in the opening. And it's not just the statement that Ms. Foster referred to, it's the statement in conjunction with the other statements that are identified in the government's letter. The ending thought of the opening was that the jury to ask themselves about the millions of reasons that people would have to testify in the way that they're about to testify. So that's the general attack on credibility. That's also expressed elsewhere in the opening. That's coupled with a specific reference to the issue of videos and the fact that the defendant didn't have the videos that the victims did. And so that is the charge that, well, they had the videos, he didn't. Okay, somebody has just joined us. What's up, Shay?
Hey.
Hey,
Hey,
Shay.
I apologize, Miss
Hey,
Shorty. I got caught up doing
no,
some
you
other
look,
stuff.
listen, man. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. All right, one moment here.
Okay.
Hold on. She gets the card. Okay, let's get going. Let's keep going. Um, okay, open. Okay, that's coupled with a specific reference to the issue of videos and the fact that the defendant didn't have the videos, but that's what the victim did, and so that just the charge that well they had the videos, he did it, and you have to ask yourself why are we hearing about videos being held over people's heads? Because there's a reason for that. It's the fact that the things that have changed and the money has been paid or money has been requested. And that's the sort of attack that was raised. And I think that fairly fits within the rule B of 315. Now, is the 316 the same text thread or what? You can read Miss Foster Shay,
Okay.
please.
Yes, it is. I think it captures just a little bit more of the entirety of it.
So that applies to B315 and 316. The standard has not been satisfied as to B332 or B329. So we have to wait until rebuttal to see what happens on cross-examination. Anything further, Ms. Foster or Ms. Johnson?
no, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so why don't you bring Mr. Philip back so that he can be sitting in the witness stand? At the same time, we'll have our jury ready to in the nth room. That's nth room. Okay, hold on. Let me just see if King Johan is available real quick, y'all. One moment. Shay, how was your day?
Oh, it was fine. How was y'all's?
Man, busy as I don't know what.
Mm.
All right, so what I'm gonna do then? Okay, so Mr. Donaldson is back on here. Also, he's doing. Okay, all right, cool. Doing a cross examination. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna go ahead and knock it out. All right, welcome back, members of the jury. Mr. Philip, do you understand that you're still under oath? Yes. Mr. Donaldson. Mr. Donaldson? Yes, Judge, thank you. So Daniel Phillip resumed, cross-examination continued. Good morning, sir. Good morning. If we briefly, I just want to go back to what we talked about yesterday, finish what we talked about yesterday. Hold on, y'all. What's up, bro? Okay. 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 All right, cool. Thank you, bro. I just hop on. Okay, peace. All right, that was Johan. He'll be on in 15 minutes. Okay. If we can briefly, I just want to go back to what we talked about yesterday. Finish what we talked about yesterday. Sure. Regarding your first meeting at Grand Marcy Park Hotel, do you recall that? Yes. I believe you said yesterday on direct, that you left and then returned back to the hotel, correct? Yes. And you returned back because Cassie called you to come back, right? Yes. And at that time, when you came back, you stayed for approximately 1 or 2 hours. Is that right? For a few hours, yes. And I believe you said on direct that during the time that this Grand Marcy Hotel visit, Mr. Combs was not saying anything, correct? During which time? During the first time or the second time? During the first time, are you referring? I didn't say he didn't say anything. I mean, he did speak to me. While you and Miss Ventura, Cassie, were having sex for a few hours, Mr. Combs was quiet in the corner, correct? Yeah, that's correct. And so for those 2 hours of you having sex with Miss Cassie Ventura at the Grand Marcy Park Hotel, it would be fair to say that Miss Ventura took the lead in the sexual intercourse, correct? No. You took the lead? I mean, we were equally just, doing our thing, man. I don't know. I wouldn't say that there was a leader. Miss Ventura and you decided on what positions that you would do in this sexual intercourse of those few hours, correct? Correct. You and Miss Ventura decided what types of sex that you would have for these few hours, correct? Correct. And on that time period, when you were with Miss Ventura at the Grand Marcy Park Hotel, she wasn't drunk, correct? Correct. She did not appear high, correct? I'm sorry, can you repeat that? She did not appear to be under the influence of any narcotics, correct? That's correct. And you did not see her consume any alcohol, correct? That's correct. You did not see her take any drugs that day, correct? Correct. So from your perspective, for those 2 hours that you were having sexual intercourse with Miss Ventura, it's fair to say that she was in complete control of everything she was doing. Is that correct? I mean, I cannot say that. Now, you also said on this first time with Miss Ventura that at the Grand Marcy Hotel that you did not wear a condom, correct? Correct. And she did not ask you to wear a condom, correct? Correct. And it's fair to say that you did ejaculate that day, correct? Correct. Now, after you left the Grand Marcy Park Hotel, I believe you said on direct that you spoke to your boss. Is that correct? Correct. And when you spoke to your boss, you learned that Miss Cassie Ventura paid for the hotel visit with a credit card, correct? That's correct. So at this point, at the Grand Marcy Hotel, you knew that, you know what, strike that. Cassie Ventura paid for this, gave you cash. Is that correct? I'm sorry, can you repeat that? At the Grand Marcy Hotel, at Hotel Experience, Cassie Ventura gave you cash, correct? That's correct. So she also paid you for this hotel visit with her credit card, correct? I mean, I don't know what she paid, for it with, man. I mean, look, I have nothing to do with that. Well, you did learn from your boss that Miss Ventura paid for this hotel stay with her credit card, correct? Not correct, man. Okay, I mean, she paid for the dancer to, hold on, who's on? Mel's Diner. Hey, Mel's Diner, how you doing?
Good. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Thanks for coming up.
Okay.
You sound, have you been here before?
No.
Okay, well, welcome.
Oh, thank you.
Yep, we will squeeze you in, okay?
All right.
All right. All right, y'all. Now, she paid for the dancer for the service with her credit card, correct? Yeah, that's correct, man. Now, yesterday, you also mentioned an assault that you observed inside Cassie's apartment. Is that correct? Correct. You indicated that this assault occurred on 11th Avenue at her apartment, and I believe it was 10 West 11th Avenue. Is that correct? I believe it was West End Avenue, but I mean, it may have been 11th. And this assault at her apartment happened after the Grand Marcy Park experience. Is that correct? Yeah, that's correct. And that was your first time going to her apartment when this assault occurred, correct? I believe so. Yeah, that's correct. And in order to get into her apartment, she had to provide you the address for that, correct? Yeah, that's correct. And in fact, I believe she texted you the address to where you were supposed to come. Correct. Now, when you got to the apartment, I believe you said on direct that you had sex with Miss Ventura prior to this assault occurring. Is that correct? Yeah, that's correct. she didn't appear to you to be under the influence of any drugs before you had sex, correct? Correct. Now, after you all had sex, I believe you said that Miss Ventura was sitting at a desk on her computer. Is that correct? Yeah, that's correct. And you are sitting in the room next to her, correct? That's incorrect. You are sitting somewhere near her? I was sitting behind her. You were sitting behind her in a room while she was on her computer, correct? Correct. And this was after you had already had sex that you had already had. That's correct. And so at this point, she was just doing something on the computer and you were just having a conversation with her. That's incorrect, man. I was just sitting there. So you were just sitting there and she was doing something on the computer. Correct. At some point, you heard her yell from Mr. Combs saying, "Hey, babe, come over here." Correct? Correct. And Miss Ventura responded, "Hey, I have all of my personal information on the computer. I'll be there in a second." Correct? That's correct. And then you're saying that at that moment, a bottle flew past her head and crashed against the wall. Is that correct? That's correct. And then Mr. Combs came outside and grabbed her by her hair and neck and took her to the back of the room. Is that correct? Is that right? He grabbed her by her hair and then he drug her, by her hair into the bedroom. Yeah, that's right. And then at some point, you still sitting there. Were you just sitting, correct? Yeah, that's correct. And then after you hear this commotion in the bedroom between Mr. Combs and Cassie, I believe you said on direct that he comes outside to where you were, looks at you, and says, "Are you ready?" Is that right? He said, "Are you guys ready to continue, somewhere along those lines?" And that is what he said after you're saying the assault had occurred. Is that correct? Yeah, that's correct. Isn't it true, Mr. Phillip, that after this assault occurred, Mr. Combs walked outside too, and you said that you got to get out of here. You got to go. I don't recall that. Isn't it true that when he walked outside after this assault, Mr. Combs looked you right in your face and said, "Yo, man, going to have to deal with this. You need to get the fuck out." No. Do you recall yesterday I asked you whether or not you had a conversation with law enforcement officers in December of 2023? You indicated that you did, correct? Correct. And you indicated yesterday that you had this conversation with law enforcement about these events, correct? Correct. And they asked you about this assault as well, correct? That's correct. And you told them what happened with this assault, correct? Correct. And you told them that you said what you said in response to this assault, correct? That's correct. Isn't it true that on December 18, 2023, Combs exited the room and threw a bottle of liquor towards Ventura? Combs then slapped Ventura in the face, grabbed her by her hair, and dragged her into the bedroom. Phillip could hear Combs continue slapping and hitting Ventura. Combs eventually came back out and told Phillip, "Yo, man, going to have to deal with this. You need to get the fuck out." And Phillip left and blocked Ventura.
Objection, Your Honor, to reading the document not in evidence.
That's sustained. isn't it a fact that on December 18th, 2023, you told law enforcement agents after Mr. Combs assaulted Miss Ventura that Mr. Combs told you, yo, man, you need to get the fuck out? I don't recall that. Can you please pull up 3574, the parties and witness only, into page 3, beginning of 4? Could you highlight where it ends? Ventura stated that at the top and into page 4, in page 3, right there. Mr. Donaldson, are you attempting to refresh the witness recollection? Yes, I am. You should ask him to read what you presented and ask him a fresh question, not referring to the document. I am. Mr. Phillip. Yeah. I'm showing you a single page. Ooh. I'm showing you a single page document with the highlighted portion. I see it. I would like you to read that portion to yourself. Tell Aaron to kill it.
He's trying. I saw it.
Okay. All right. Stay up here.
He told me to come up here.
Okay, stay up here. Okay. I've read it. Does that refresh your recollection as to what you told agents in December 18th, 2023, after you indicated that you observed an assault and that Mr. Combs told you after that? What Mr. Combs told you after that? All right. Let me see. Okay. And what Mr. Combs told you after that? Man, I don't remember saying that. No. You don't remember telling the agents that you do not remember saying that? I mean, what am I reading here? That
Objection, Your Honor.
That Mr. Combs told me to get the F out? Hold on. We're going to strike the last answer. The jury should disregard it. Mr. Donaldson, please ask your next question. May we approach Your Honor, please, for 1 second?
May I confer with counsel, Your Honor?
You may. And confer with counsel. Mr. Phillip. Yes. You recall, or not recall, but, well, do you recall dating a model by the name of Malia? I never said I dated her. I mean, she was a friend of mine. Do you recall having a friend named Malia? Malia? Malia. And while with this friend Malia, would it be fair to say that you were walking by the Dream Hotel here in downtown New York and happened to see Miss Cassie Ventura outside the hotel? Yeah. And when you saw her outside the hotel, outside the Dream Hotel, she was not with Mr. Combs. Is that correct? That's correct. She was with some other friends, correct? Correct. And you were walking with your friend Malia, correct? That's correct. And you and Cassie Ventura made contact with each other, correct?
Objection to form.
Well, at this time, when you saw Cassie Ventura outside the Dream Hotel, say anything to her? No. Did she say anything to you? No. Did you say anything to Malia about Cassie Ventura? Yes. And you told Malia about the relationship that you had with Cassie Ventura, correct? I mean, Malia already knew about the relationship I had with her. She knew because you told her, correct? Correct. And you and Malia you told Malia that you were and Cassie Ventura had been seeing each other socially. Is that fair to say?
Objection to hearsay, Your Honor.
I'm asking what he told her. It's overruled. Correct. And then after you saw Cassie in front of the hotel Dream Hotel. Cassie then called you later on, correct? Correct. And Cassie called you later on and said she wanted to get together with you to have another experience. Would that be fair to say? I mean, she asked me to meet her. She asked me if I was available. She asked you, were you available to meet her to have another experience, correct? Incorrect. Okay, and you thought when Cassie called you, you thought she was calling you to come see her for a one-on-one. Is that correct? Correct. And when you say you thought that she was calling you for you to come see her on a one-on-one, you meant one-on-one regarding a sexual encounter, correct? That's correct. So, and this had nothing to do with Mr. Combs, correct? I don't understand that. Well, you saw Cassie Ventura in front of the Dream Hotel, correct? Correct. She wasn't with Sean Combs, correct? Correct. And when Cassie called you, and then Cassie called you, correct? Correct. And then you presume that Cassie was calling you for a one-on-one between you and her, correct? That's incorrect. Now, yesterday you also mentioned something about hearing an argument, yelling at Excess Hotel between Cassie and Combs. Do you recall testifying about that? Yes. Now, in that particular situation, again, Cassie called you and asked you to meet her at the Dream Hotel. Is that right? That's correct. And then she canceled and said, meet her at the Excess house, correct? Correct. So then you went to the Excess house, correct? That's correct. And you and Cassie had sex at the Excess house, correct? That's correct. And once again, Cassie, you did not observe Cassie to be under the influence of narcotics, correct? That's correct. You didn't observe her to be drunk, correct? That's correct. You didn't see her drinking or taking any drugs before you all had sex that day, correct? That's correct. And then after you all had sex, hold on, y'all. Hold on real quick. All right, y'all, I'm back. I'm sorry. Okay. All right, here we go. Correct? And after all you and Cassie had sex, and then said you, well, Cassie and Mr. Combs went to the bedroom together, correct? That's correct. And then you heard some yelling and screaming in the bedroom. Is that correct? Is that right? Yes. And then yesterday you said that you saw Mr. Combs run out of the hotel, completely out of the hotel naked, correct? I mean, I think he had a towel on. Yeah, that's correct. He ran completely out of the hotel with just a towel on. He ran out the hotel room. He ran out the room. And then after that, Cassie then ran to you and jumped in your lap. Is that correct? That's correct. Well, then you said all that started, and then you all started kissing. Is that right? Man, she was shaking uncontrollably. I mean, obviously she was afraid, and we started talking for a while before we ended up kissing each other. So, yeah. So let's go to that. So Cassie ran, jumped in your lap, and then you all started talking for a while. Is that right? That's correct. And then while you were all just talking, she started kissing you, correct? That's correct. And this is something different than has ever been done before, correct? That's correct. And then you started kissing her back, correct? Correct. And then you all started, I believe, you said started getting into it, correct? That's correct. And when you say getting into it, you all started having sex, correct? I mean, we was moving in that direction. You got an erection, correct? You said, correct. And this was a different moment than before, correct? Correct. You felt like there was some kind of bond between you two, correct? I mean, I always felt that, but correct. And then at that point, you said Mr. Combs walked in, correct? Correct. And then at that point, you lost your erection. That's correct. So you lost your erection because Mr. Combs was present, correct? That's correct. And because his presence made you lose your erection, correct? And his presence caused you to have this erectile dysfunction, correct? Now, you also said that you had been with Cassie and Combs for at least 6 or 7 times, right? Correct. The only one of those times you indicated that you saw Cassie under the influence of any drugs, correct? That's what you said yesterday. Yesterday, you said only one of those times you saw Cassie under the influence of drugs. I mean, my hesitation is to your reference to me being with them. I mean, I literally was invited, to come that day. I mean, he opened the door. Sean Combs opened the door. I saw her visibly on the couch, passed out. I mean, slumped over on the couch. She looked, completely inebriated. Your Honor, I move to strike. There was no question on the.
Yeah, Your Honor, it was responsive.
Overruled. I mean, as I saw her on the couch, Mr. Combs said to me, I don't think this is, going to happen today, man. I looked at her and I said, yeah, obviously. And I left. Let's go through that. As I said, so you were with them several times, correct? Well, in the presence of Cassie and Mr. Combs several times with these experiences, correct? Correct. And that one time that you said you saw Cassie under the influence or inebriated in some sort, correct? Correct. And that one time you saw her in this condition, Mr. Combs told you nothing is happening today, correct? That's correct. So the one time that you did see her under any kind of influence or any kind of drugs, Mr. Combs said no to any sexual intercourse, correct? Correct. You said something about the last encounter you had with Cassie and Combs, and there was another man in the room. Do you recall saying that? Yes. In that situation, Cassie again called you to the apartment, correct? Correct. This is her apartment, correct? Correct. And of course, you arrived at her apartment. Is that fair to say? I mean, I arrived at her apartment. Is that what you're asking me? Is that what you're asking me? You went to her apartment, right? Yes, correct. And when you got to the apartment, there was another male there already, correct? That's incorrect. You were there first, correct? Correct. And you and Cassie Ventura had already had sex before the male got there, correct? That's incorrect. Okay, would it be fair to say that, okay, when the male got there, you and Cassie had sex, correct? That's incorrect. Would it be fair to say that you and the male that was there rotated having sex with Cassie Ventura? Man, that's incorrect. Would it be fair to say that you watched the male have sex with Cassie Ventura while Cassie Ventura was having sex with Sean Combs? That's correct. Would it be fair to say that during this time period, Cassie Ventura was not under any influence of narcotics? I mean, she didn't appear to be so. Hold on, y'all. What is this? she didn't appear to be so. And it would also be fair to say that she was not intoxicated, correct? I mean, I couldn't say that, but it didn't appear that she was. Well, let's do it this way. From your appearance, from your observation of Cassie Ventura on a day that she had sex with Mr. Combs and another person, she did not appear to be under the influence of narcotics, correct? That's correct. On the day that you saw Cassie Ventura having sex with Mr. Combs and another individual male, did she not appear to be inebriated, correct? That's correct. You mentioned something about directing Mr. Combs, directing things. Do you recall saying that? Yes. Now, would it be true that Mr. Combs never gave directions about what positions to use during sex with Cassie Ventura? That's incorrect. You recall meeting with the federal government, the prosecutors, on March 28, 2025, correct? Correct. And when you met with these federal prosecutors on March 28th, is that the year? Correct. March 28, 2025. You met with federal prosecutors, correct? That's correct. And when you met with the federal prosecutors on March 28th of 2025, you spoke to them about your relationship or your contacts with Cassie, correct? That's correct. And you told them about the sexual intercourse and the sexual interactions you had with Cassie Ventura, correct? That's correct. And isn't it true that on March 28, 2025, you told the AUSAs here that you did not recall Sean Combs giving directions about what position to use during sex? That's correct. So, in fact, in March 28, 2025, and today, is it true that you don't recall Sean Combs giving any directions about sexual positions during yourself with Cassie Ventura, correct? Incorrect. Okay, Mr. Phillip, it's fair to say that you believe Cassie Ventura liked you in a unique way, correct? I mean, we was becoming friends, yes. You thought that you all were establishing some, I believe you said earlier, establishing some kind of bond together, correct? That's correct. In fact, prior to your last visit with Mr. Combs and Cassie, you thought that you were in a relationship with Cassie, correct? No, that's incorrect. There were times where you were actually trying to get Cassie alone because you were attracted to her and you wanted to be with her. Isn't that correct? I mean, I always, I wanted to make sure she was okay. And I definitely was attracted to her. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. But, and she had ever given me the chance to date her, I absolutely would have. In fact, in those occasions when you were, or they were alone in the bedroom and you were, well, strike that. There were occasions where Mr. Combs and Miss Ventura would go into another room and they would be having sex, correct? I mean, I don't know what they were doing in the other room, but is it true that you would actually get jealous when you saw Mr. Combs having sex with Cassie, correct? Incorrect. Can I have 1 second, please, Your Honor? You may. You met with the government on October 7, 2024 as well, correct? Correct. When you met with the federal government on October 7, 2024, you met with these federal prosecutors here, correct? That's correct. And when you met with them, you told them about your interactions with Miss Ventura and your sexual intercourse with her, correct? That's correct. And you told them about how you felt about her, correct? That's correct. Isn't it true that on October 7, 2024, you told the federal prosecutors in your meeting with them that Sean Combs would occasionally tell you to go sit on the couch, it's my turn, and then...
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained. Did you not tell the prosecutors on October 7, 2024 that you would feel jealous?
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
Can we do a sidebar?
Thank you.
All right. Do you have the document right in front of the jury that you are reading from? I have it on the side, so I can read it. I'm trying to make sure you got to do that. I mean, they can't see the document, Judge. It's right in front of the juror. Okay.
Your Honor, I just realized that Mr. Donaldson had these papers on the bar right in front of the jury throughout the cross-examination.
Hold on. So, I'm sorry. There is space limitations. Can we adjust that during the break? Your Honor, I'll put it on the ledge. Your Honor, put it on the electron. There's a side thing. No, it has a side, so that can't be. We can't see it from the side.
I also note that Mr. Accaferio could share space at counsel's table directly to the left.
Well, I'll do whatever I can to make sure that the juror can't see. Okay, it wasn't my intention to do that. Just so let's be clear about that. Anything further, Ms. Gilman?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
Sorry about that. All right, Mr. Donaldson, you may continue when ready. Thank you, Judge. Mr. Phillip, isn't it correct that on October 7th, 2024, the meeting with the federal government, you told them that you would feel that when Sean Combs and Ventura were having sex, you would feel jealous because you liked Miss Ventura romantically? Is that not what you told the federal government and the prosecutors on October 2024 when you were telling them information about your relationship with Miss Ventura? I don't recall that. Mr. Donaldson. I'm sorry, Mr. Donaldson. All right, Ray, could you please put up 3570, page 5? Go down to where it says recollections.
I want to confirm it's just for the parties and the witnesses.
Just for the parties, of course. Third bullet point down. Highlight that section, please. Mr. Phillip, I'm showing you a document on the screen. Would you please read that document to yourself and see if it refreshes your recollection on that October of 2024? You told federal prosecutors that when Mr. Combs and Ventura were having sex, you would feel jealous because you liked Miss Ventura romantically. That does not refresh my memory. What does not refresh your memory? I mean, I don't recall saying that to them. But you're not saying that you didn't say that, correct? I don't recall saying that to them. I have no further questions for this witness. Redirect.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning.
Good morning.
Mr. Phillip, do you recall yesterday and today on cross-examination being shown reports and notes?
All right, let's do this, Riri. Let's give Miss Mills Dinah a try. Mills Dinah, you go ahead and jump in, and you're gonna read Miss Comey.
Okay, where are we?
Good morning.
Okay, good morning.
Good morning.
Mr. Phillips, do you recall yesterday and today on cross-examination being shown reports and notes?
Yes.
Before defense counsel showed you those reports and these notes, had you seen them at all?
No,
Had anyone ever asked you to review those reports or those notes?
no,
Had anyone ever asked you to check whether they were accurate?
no.
Do you recall being asked about whether you told prosecutors in March of this year that you could not recall Mr. Combs directing you and Miss Ventura about what positions to use during sexual intercourse?
Yes.
Can you explain why you didn't remember that in March of this year, but you do remember that today?
I mean, because Sean Combs definitely did direct us. I mean, direct Cassie to give me blowjobs, also to, rub me down, rub each other down in certain ways with baby oil and stuff. And so, I mean, in my agitation, is in, what will be considered directing you sexually in the positions. I mean, I don't know if he's referring to actual intercourse or the actual experience altogether. But either way, he was directing us for what to do in terms of touching each other in sexual ways.
So let's break that down. You would di- who would direct you and Cassie to rub baby oil on each other?
Sean Combs,
And who would direct Cassie to perform oral sex on you?
Sean Combs,
Who would direct you and Cassie to have sexual intercourse with each other?
Sean Combs.
Do you recall being asked yesterday on cross examination about the timing of when Cassie handed you cash during your first meeting at the Gramercy Park Hotel?
Yes.
How did the amount of money that Cassie handed you that first night compare to the fee you were owed for your stripping services?
Can you repeat that?
How did the amount of money that Cassie handed you that first night at the Gramercy Park Hotel compare to the amount of money you were owed as a fee for your stripping services?
Uh, it was roughly $3,800 more.
And over all of your meetings with Cassie and with Mr. Combs, when you could perform sexually, what were you paid?
I mean, between 700 to 5 or 6 thousand. I mean, I'm estimating. I couldn't, say definitely.
When you could not perform sexually, how much were you paid?
Most of the time, nothing. I mean, I don't recall if there was a time where they gave me money for times I couldn't have sex with her.
But as you sit here today, to the best of your recollection, did they pay you when you could not maintain an erection and have sexual intercourse with Miss Ventura?
No.
Do you recall being asked about your perception of Miss Ventura's level of intoxication on cross examination?
Yes.
Other than seeing her briefly on the street outside the Dream Hotel, did you ever see Miss Ventura outside of the context of meeting with her to have sex in front of Mr. Combs?
No.
And did you ever speak with her in person outside of the context of having sex with her in front of Mr. Combs?
No.
Do you recall being asked about on cross examination Miss Ventura calling you after seeing you in person outside the Dream Motel?
Yes.
Do you know who she was with when she made that phone call?
No.
Do you know, wait, I'm sorry. Do you know who she was with every time she sent you a text message?
No.
Do you know who she was with every time she called you?
Um, no.
Were there times when you texted her and she did not respond?
Uh, well, she never responded to my text message. Usually.
So when you initiated the conversations, did she respond?
No.
Do you recall being asked about what Mr. Combs said when he came out of the room after you heard him beating Cassie?
Yes.
As you sit here today, what do you remember Mr. Combs saying when he came out of the room after beating Cassie?
Uh, pretty much. I recall him coming out the room and trying to get us to have sex again, but I couldn't after that. I mean, after that, that was the first time that I started experiencing erectile dysfunction.
When you say he was trying to get us to have sex again, who were you referring to when you say us?
Sean Combs.
And what, as you sit here today, do you remember Mr. Combs saying to try to get you and Cassie to have sex after he had beaten Cassie?
I just recall, him asking us if we were ready to go.
And after that, did you try to get an erection?
I mean, I was completely in my head. I mean, I, I tried to engage. I mean, I wanted to really hug her. You know what I'm saying? But there was nothing I could do. I was completely shocked and completely messed up in my head. So no, there was nothing I could do
You said you wanted to really hug her. Why was that?
because she was afraid. Like I could see that she was afraid. Like she was really upset. And I could see it in her face that she was crying a lot.
So you said you tried to engage. What did you do to try to engage?
I mean, we got as close to like sitting on the couch next to each other, and I think she put um, her hand on me.
I'm sorry to ask this specifically. What part of your body did she put your hand on?
Like she went into like grab my shoulder, and she went into grab my shoulders, and then that's how we always started. With the actual hug, and started to hug each other and rub baby oil on each other and other stuff. But I mean, I was just I was completely messed up, man. I could not engage in this act.
So I want to make sure we have this clear. After Mr. Combs told you and Cassie essentially to have sex again,
Uh huh. Objection. Let's rephrase the question, please.
what did Mr. Combs say to you and Cassie when he came out of the room after beating her?
He asked us if we were ready to go.
And what do you understand that to mean based on your experience with him in the past?
I mean, if we were ready to have sex again.
And after that, did you and Cassie have clothes on
I don't recall if I had my clothes on already or not.
when you were sitting on the couch?
Um, I mean, I would say underwear. Hold on. I would say underwear. My apologies. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh no, that's fine. So when you heard this beating, were you
Hey, you
in
didn't
your
know.
underwear?
Okay, I'm sorry, y'all. I had to take that. Um, I most likely put my underwear on when they were in the bedroom. Because I was afraid, and I was imagining that it was time for me to, I was about to get kicked out of something.
And so after Mr. Combs said something that you understood to be telling you and Cassie to have sex again when you were sitting on the couch, what were you and Cassie wearing?
I'm pretty sure I was wearing some underwear, um, and she was. I honestly don't recall what she had on.
Was she wearing clothes?
I mean, it wouldn't have been much, probably a robe or something like that. But
And what did you two do to try to engage in sexual activity?
um, I mean, she put her hands on me for a couple of seconds, and I recall, I feel like she would, she told me that it's time to go now because he could see that I was not, and that messed me up.
So were you able to get an erection when Cassie tried to rub baby oil on you?
Hold on, I'm sorry. Checking and saving. Okay. All right. Well, she didn't try to rub baby oil on me after that.
I'm sorry, I misunderstood. When she tried to touch you.
No. Hold on. No.
Do you recall being asked about your first interaction with Cassie at the Gramercy Park Hotel during cross-examination?
Yes.
And do you recall being asked whether Mr. Combs gave instruction during that first interaction?
Yes.
Throughout all of this sexual activity during the first interaction at the Gramercy Park Hotel, who was in the room?
I think it was myself, Sean Combs, and Cassie.
And do you recall in cross-examination being asked about whether there were times when Cassie appeared to enjoy the sexual activity with you?
Then you got one little part, one extra little part right there.
Oh, go back up a little bit. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Okay,
Go
there
ahead.
you go. Throughout all of your sexual activity with Cassie, who was in the room? Okay, we did that.
Yeah, we did that.
I'm sorry. And is Sean Combs the same man that threw a liquor bottle across the room when she asked him to wait a minute?
Hold on. Yeah, hold real quick. I'm sorry. This is hold on. One moment. Yes.
Um,
Asking, wait a minute. Objection. Miss Comey. Riri. Riri, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm here. I had to get off of mute.
Okay. Miss Comey.
All right, give me 1 second. Let me line
Okay.
this back up. It's coming. It's directly responsive to the line of across, Your Honor.
Okay. It's overruled.
is Sean Combs the same man who threw a liquor bottle across the room when Cassie asked him to wait a minute?
Yes.
Is that the same man that grabbed her by her hair and dragged her to the bedroom?
Yes.
And is that the same man who beat her and called her bitch?
Uh, I mean, I didn't see him beating her beyond him dragging her into the room. However, I could hear it, and it was my presumption. All right, hold on. Okay, Shay, you back. Okay, and okay, y'all, hold one moment. Hold one moment. Hey, Okay, all right, Beth. Okay, I got it, y'all. All right. Where do we end up at? I said I didn't see him beating on her, dragged to beyond. However, I could hear it, and it was my presumption. Objection. It's sustained. The jury should disregard the last sentence of the witness's answer. Miss Gomez?
Is that still me?
That's Riri.
Okay.
Hold on. Oh no. Yeah, that's your question. Yeah.
Okay. Is that the same man who called her a bitch while you heard her say, "I'm sorry," and heard smacking sounds?
Yeah.
Is that the same man who then came out of that same room and asked you and told you and Cassie, in essence, to have sex again?
In essence, yes. Objection. It's overruled.
No further questions.
Mr. Donaldson, anything further? Yes, briefly. Mr. Phillip, you just indicated that when you text her, you did not receive a response. Do you remember saying that just now? Yeah. Can we put up Government Exhibit 3B324, please? That's in evidence. Now, these are text messages between you and Miss Cassie, correct? That's correct. And you text her, correct? Correct. And she responded, correct? Correct. And in fact, on, let me get my glasses, please. If we can go to page, one second, go to page 3 of that document where it says, "I'm in New York." Do you see that? Yes. Do you see the date? It says July 30th, 2012. Yes. If we can flip those 2 pages and go to the next, you see where it says how long until you're here? Do you see that? Yes. That's Cassie talking to you. Yes. And then you see where it says, was that meant for me? That's you, correct? Yes. All right. The next line says, what's the address? Do you see that? Yes. And then you go to the next page, please. The next line says, I'm in the Upper West Side, so I can meet you within 10 or 15 minutes. That's you, correct? Yes. And then further down in the blue, it says 10 West End Avenue. Hit me up when you're there. That's Cassie, correct? Yes. And that's her giving you the address to her apartment, correct? Yes. So that you can get there, correct? Yes. And so, one second. And that's the date that the assault happened, correct? That is the first day you went there when you got the address. Do you remember saying that on the cross? Yes. All right. We can stroll down, please, to go 2 pages over to... Now, down to the bottom of that page says, Daniel, New York, L.A. The date is October 12th, 2012. Do you see that? Yes. All right, and flip one more page over. Do you see where it says, don't give a fuck that I am a little tipsy. I love y'all niggas. Do you see that? What? Yes. So on October 12th, 2012, 3 months after this assault, you sent her a text saying, I love y'all niggas, correct? Yes. And you were telling both of them that you love them, correct? Yes. This is after the assault, correct? Yes. I have no further questions. Thank you. Ms. Coleman?
Brief redirection, if I may, Your Honor.
Very brief.
Why did you send that text message?
Because I was trying to get her to respond to my messages. I mean, she would not respond to my messages. And the only way that I could, I could see if, she was okay was to try to bait her into making her and Mr. Combs believe that I had no problem with what he had done, so that he would invite me back, so that I could see her for myself, that she was okay.
No further questions.
Move to strike. On what basis? Non-responsive.
It's totally responsive to why did he send that text, Your Honor.
That's overruled. All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Philip. The witness is excused. Mr. Stavo, Mr. Stavo, Caleb, be Mr. Stavo, Miss Esteval.
Caleb, she was tired, so she's put it
Okay, she got off. Okay. Let me see. Okay. Riri.
Oh, you want me to go? Okay.
Yep. And I'm gonna bring in Shay.
Your Honor, we have a brief sidebar. Can we have a brief sidebar before the next witness?
You may.
Your Honor, this is Rule 613 issue. We understand that Ms. Ventura fine. He may be present in the courtroom, and we expect him to be a potential defense witness. So we would ask that he is being excluded. We can elaborate a little bit more on the reasons.
I don't think that you need to, unless there is an issue with that. So, Miss Johnson, Shay, you can be Miss Johnson.
Oh, I'm sorry. Shay?
Shay? You're on mute, Shay. Okay. Mel's Diner, if you could read Miss Johnson, please.
Okay, I'm not. Sorry,
okay,
I was on mute.
Okay, go ahead. Miss Johnson, please.
Okay. There is, Your Honor. We were advised of this approximately 10 minutes ago. He's not included on the defense witness list. Ms. Ventura's husband is here with his family to support his wife and testify publicly. We had, under the CVRA, she has the right to be treated with dignity and privacy, and she would like to support in this courtroom as she testifies.
Your Honor, her husband, Ms. Ventura, began her relationship with her husband while she was still in a relationship with Mr. Combs, and there is an overlap between the two of these relationships. It also relates to our cross-examination related to her accusations about rape during the course of both of these relationships.
Okay. It doesn't matter why we're seeking him to call as witness.
Okay.
You're telling me that at this time you are calling him as a witness. Is that right? Miss Garagos, go ahead. Riri, y'all can go. Hold on. Actually, go ahead, Miss Mel's Donna. Read Miss Garagos, please.
Okay. If I could just elaborate. What we have given the government is a witness list for our case in chief. We do not know who the witnesses we would need to call on our direct case. Witnesses we would call on our direct case would be for possible impeachment areas for witnesses that the government would call on that they called on their case in chief. The reasons are important because at this time we can't really tell Your Honor who we know we would call, but there are several allegations that the government could bring up during their direct examinations that we would explore during cross and may lead to witnesses we would call on our case in I'm sorry.
13, line 13.
13, thank you. That would just be for impeachment reasons. At this time, we can't say who definitely would call, and we certainly.
Why wasn't it raised before this morning when he's here with his entire family?
Your Honor, I apologize. I brought this up to Miss Comey, but not to Miss Johnson yesterday. This is my fault. And then I didn't follow up on it last night. I apologize. We're not looking to not have to have her have support people. Her brother is here who was around all the while in their relationship, and
Her brother is here.
we have no problem with her husband.
With her what?
Oh, brother.
How old is her brother?
Her brother is a couple years.
Mid-30s.
Okay. Ask her children. And her children are here.
Her children are not here.
They are not here.
No.
So who's here?
Her brother is here, her cousin, and her husband. Now, with respect to the husband and his very small factual overlap with this case, the government is open to discussing what stipulations could be reached and obviate any means.
Let's do this because we have the jury and everyone sitting here. There's been a request for a break. I'll let the jury go back to the jury room just for a second. That way, whoever needs to take a break, and then discuss this in open court.
All right.
Thank you. All right, members of the jury, we're going to take a brief break so that the people can stretch their legs, and there is some things that we need to take care of. Let's take a 10-minute break, and we'll be back at 10:52. Let's try to get back at 10:55. Okay, 3 minutes. All right, for the jury. Okay, now they move on. All right. All right, please be seated. If anyone needs a break or needs to use the restroom or anything like that, you should do it now. So please go. Now, in terms of the issue that was raised at sidebar, maybe Miss Estalvo, you can, or Miss Garagos, you can explain what is going on here. Under the hush tones at the sidebar, I have Miss Things. I mean, you can tell me exactly what is happening.
Our application, Your Honor, is that Miss Ventura's husband not be in the courtroom under Rule 615. The reason for this, and of course, we do not know what her direct testimony will be at this time, but if the government elicits any allegations about any alleged rape by Mr. Combs in the summer of fall of 2018, I could see that there could be a possibility, based on how cross-examination goes, that we may need to call him on our case for impeachment purposes. Additionally, there are several other, Ms. Johnson said at the sidebar, this is just a very small period of overlap. But there has been 3 instances I want to point, Your Honor, to that could be relevant with respect to his potential testimony. So the first would be that he alleged rape in the summer of fall of 2018. If they go into that on direct examination, the second thing would be whether or not Miss Ventura is going scroll up to testify on direct that Mr. Combs ever threatened Mr. Fine when their breakup was, when they had broken up, when they weren't together anymore, and she was with him. And then the third is that Miss Ventura made the demand of 30 million, began to make the demand of 30 million to Mr. Combs, and prior to Miss Ventura's lawsuit against Mr. Combs. Mr. Fine sent several very threatening text messages to our client saying that he would like to beat the F word out of his old just several words that I will not repeat on the record. There are several threatening messages that my client received that we got in discovery from the government. And again, we do not know what the direct will be, so I think this argument would be a little bit better if we did. These 3 areas of possible testimony that we could have to call him on direct case. And the reason we didn't put him on the witness list, of course, was because the witness list is for the defense case in chief. But there are several potential witnesses that, depending on how the government's case comes in, we would have to put on in our case in chief. That's our application. We are certainly not looking to not have her have support people in the courtroom. That is not what we're looking to do. My understanding is that her brother will be in the courtroom. Her brother is someone that was around their entire relationship, but I don't expect that his testimony would be relevant at all in this case. Based on our review of the 3,500 and I guess the 3,500 messages, based on our review of the 3,500 and the messages, and so we are not making an application that he be excluded in any way or that any of her other family members, except for her mother, who I expect to testify, not be in this courtroom. It's really with respect to her husband because of these three discrete issues.
Okay. Okay, Miss Johnson.
Your Honor, a few responses. First, with respect to both this witness and future witnesses, the government would respectfully request that the defense provide more notice of any potential impeachment witnesses and intend to call, to the extent that they are not, may call, to the extent that they are not on the 34 witness list. Because this is nothing that was foreseeable to the government until a few minutes ago when it was raised. I do not expect that any of these topics will be covered in today's direct examination. We may cover one of these topics likely tomorrow. That would be the first one, the rape. And as I said at sidebar, the government is open to speaking to the defense about what, if any, stipulations could be. Let me just scroll up.
Okay, sorry.
That's okay. I need to come right down just a little bit. No, down, just a little bit. I need that top line. Okay. If any, if the stipulation could be entered, a fact could be entered that could obviate the need to call Mr. Fine as a witness. I really am not sure how, if at all, he would be able to testify about as an alleged rape that occurred between Mr. Combs and Miss Ventura, but we're open to having that. Can you scroll? That dialogue, and we would ask that Miss Ventura be allowed to have her support, her people, including her husband, here in this courtroom. She has various rights under the Crimes Victim Rights Act, and we would ask that he be allowed to be present.
Atmos.
Okay, I'm here, y'all. I'm sorry. I'm working at the same time.
That's okay.
Mm.
I would just suggest that we don't say RAPE
Yeah,
because
I was just gonna say I didn't mean to say
Say
yeah,
it.
great.
was
Just
gonna
say
strike your channel.
okay. Just say great. Okay. All right. And look, Rule 615 is mandatory on the court once it's invoked. The rule has been invoked. The exception is, I suppose, in Federal Rule of Criminal Procedure 60, and that will pertain to the victim. So that does not apply here. So I don't understand how there would be an exception to the rule. I mean, unless the defense said, and maybe they're willing to do this, that given that you said about the nature of the examination, it's probably not going to come up this morning, and might be for you one of the critical times of the for her husband to be in the courtroom. So if that is not going to come up this morning, it may be something that we can deal with in the afternoon section. Now, it depends on the defense. Whether I'm missing something, that depends on the defense indicating that they're comfortable with that and waiving any right that they have under Rule 615. If they invoke the right, maybe you can help me. I'm not seeing what the exception is that you're trying to invoke, given Rule 60 addresses the issue and only pertains to the victims.
Understood, Your Honor. Then I would again reiterate my request for much more significant notice.
Okay, I'm not back on. Yes, okay. Okay, and it is no longer a request. It is now an order of the court. So, and you don't need to explain what is happening, Ms. Garagos. All you need to do is say that for this witness, we are seeking exclusion of X person because of the understanding of what the testimony may be. That way, the government will have advance notice, so there is not a surprise in the immediate, right before or right during anyone's testimony.
Understood.
All right, so Ms. Garagos, what is your position?
Can you give me 15 seconds to confer, Your Honor?
Yes.
Your Honor, we've conferred. We understand that she would like her court people. If he wants to come into the courtroom today before 2018, the 2018 period starts, we are fine with him remaining in the courtroom until then. We would ask that he be excluded once we get into that time period.
Not business days. Okay. All right. So, Ms. Johnson, I think all you need to do is to request a sidebar to the appropriate injunction, and we'll take the sidebar and then we'll make the adjustments as necessary.
Understood, Your Honor. I want to flag one idea. I'll be asking one series of questions early in the examination about post 2018 time period, but I don't believe it would implicate any concerns. It's related to the authentication of evidence and electronic devices provided by the witness.
Okay, and let me see. That's up to Ms. Garagos.
That's fine.
Okay, all right. So we'll take it from here. We'll be back in a couple of minutes. Anything to raise before the government calls the next witness?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor. All right. Let's have our jury. Jury is present. Please be seated. Is the government ready to call their next witness?
Yes, Your Honor. The government calls Cassandra Ventura.
Okay. So, oh shit.
There's a cliffhanger.
This is the cliffhanger. Do y'all? Well, it's gonna be y'all here. So y'all want to roll?
Let's go.
Y'all want to roll?
Let's rock and roll, baby.
All right, let's rock and roll. So here we go. All right. Remain standing, and please raise your right hand.
So you want to be
Ventura, called as a witness by the government, having been duly sworn, testifies as follows. Ms. Johnson.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Who's gonna
Good morning, Miss Ventura.
So hold on. So who do y'all? Who wants to be Cassie?
I want to be.
Hold on. Somebody just came on. Hold on. Let me see. Who is this? Okay, Johan is back. Mel's Diner. Okay. Oh, okay. Mel's Diner is on 2 times. Can you hear me, Mel's Diner?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay. So you're here. Johan, what up, bro?
Man, bro. Man, my bad, dog. I be talking. Man, bro. That was crazy, man. God is definitely good, man.
I got through it, bro. I got through it. Okay, so it looks like it's gonna be the ladies doing their thing with the. So I think where's Caleb had to go. She got that little soft voice.
Right.
Damn, she had to roll out. Okay, it's okay though.
I'm good. The other 2 girls can do it.
No. Mel, can you stay, Mel?
Yeah, I could stay.
Why don't you got a softer voice? Why don't you do Cassie? Because they said her voice was kind of soft and subtle.
Oh Lord, I gotta do Cassie.
Yeah.
All right.
And Riri and y'all ladies, you could be Miss Johnson, and y'all can switch out from blank to blank. So Let's go ahead and rock and roll. You'll be Cassie Ventura. So, Miss Johnson, that's you, Riri.
Okay. Good afternoon, Miss Ventura.
Good morning.
Just so you know, you can drink the water that's on the stand.
Okay, thank you.
How old are you?
I'm 38 years old.
And what is your occupation?
I'm a musician and entertainer.
Miss Gavin, could you please publish Government Exhibit 2A-101 in evidence for all of the parties in the courtroom? Miss Ventura, who is depicted in Government's Exhibit 2A-1-101?
Sean Combs.
And how do you know Sean Combs?
We were in a relationship for a little over 10 years. 11 years.
If I refer to Sean Combs as Sean today, would you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
You said that you were in a relationship with Sean for a little over a decade. During that period, were you together consistently or were there breaks during the relationship?
There were breaks.
During that time, during that same time, were there times where you got along with Sean?
Yes.
Were there times where you did not?
Yes.
Were there times when you had arguments with Sean?
Yes.
Without getting into subject matters of these arguments, can you describe what arguments with Sean were like?
If they were violent arguments, it would usually result in some sort of physical abuse, um, and dragging, just different things of that nature.
Okay. And when you say physical abuse, can you tell me what types of things that Sean did that hurt you physically?
I mean, he would mash me in my head, knock me over, drag me, kick me, stomp me in the head if I was down.
And how frequently was Sean physical with you during your relationship?
Too frequently.
Were you ever injured as a result of these incidents?
Yes.
And what kind of injuries did you have as a result of Sean being physical with you?
Usually pretty similar. I would get knots in my forehead, busted lips, swollen lips, black eyes, and whites of my eyes would be red, bruises all over my body, just depending.
Okay. Miss Gavin, could you please pull up and publish for the court Government Exhibit 10C-103 at 33 seconds? Miss Ventura, directing your attention to the screen in front of you, do you recognize who's depicted in that same image?
Yes, that's me and Sean.
And do you recognize the location recorded in this still image?
Yes, that's the Intercontinental Century City.
And what were you and Sean doing at the Intercontinental Century City at the time of this image was captured?
We were having an encounter that we call a freak off, and I was leaving there.
Were you going to get back that specific incident? We're going to get back to that specific incident later on. You just mentioned the word freak off. Do you recall that?
Yes,
Who introduced you to the term freak off?
Sean did.
And how did you learn what a freak off was?
Um, Within the first year of our relationship, Sean proposed to me this idea, this sexual encounter that he called voyeurism, where he would watch me have intercourse and sexual activity with a third party, specifically another man.
And how did the term freak off come about?
I honestly don't remember exactly how it came about.
Can you describe for the jury when you say the term freak off, what that entails?
It basically entails the hiring of an escort and setting up the experience so that I could perform for Sean.
And what did the performance involve at a high level?
The performance involved, I'm sorry, um, it just involved watching. Sean being able to watch me with the other person and actually direct us on what we were doing sexually.
And when you say the other person, who are you referring to?
Um, the third party, the escort or dancer that would be hired.
Who was in charge of all the aspects of the freak offs that you mentioned? The hiring, the setup, etc.
Eventually, it became a job for me, pretty much. To where I knew is if that is something that he wanted to do, I had the contacts to set it up and get a hotel room and all of that. Um, but in the beginning, Sean set it up. He was in charge.
And after it became your job, how did you know what to do?
He would tell me.
And when Sean first proposed freak offs, what was your reaction?
Oh, I just remember like my stomach falling to my butt, like just the nervousness and the confusion in that moment. I think I was 22 at the time. I had just turned 22. I don't, uh, I didn't have a concept of how that would be a turn on, but I also felt a sense of responsibility with him sharing something um like that with me. So yeah, I was confused, nervous, but also loved him very much and wanted to make him happy. So yeah,
Did you did you agree to try a freak off when Sean first proposed one?
I did.
And after that, were there more freak offs?
Yes, there were.
How, if at all, did your willingness to engage in freak offs with Sean change over time?
I mean, pretty quickly over time. I knew that it wasn't something that I wanted to be doing, especially as regularly as it became. Um, but again, I was just in love and wanted to make him happy.
Well, despite not wanting to do freak offs, did you continue to engage in freak offs with Sean?
I did.
And why did you continue to engage in freak offs with Sean?
He would ask me, he would bring it up at random times, and I think to a point I just didn't feel like I had much of a choice. I what didn't really know what no would be or what no could turn into.
And when you say that you didn't know what no could turn into, what do you mean by that?
Making him angry, very honestly, also making him uncomfortable, that I knew this thing and that I no longer wanted to do it. Can you repeat the question?
Sure. You said that you didn't know what no could turn into. And I asked you if you could explain what you meant by that phrase.
Ultimately, at that point, Sean controlled a lot of my life, whether it was career, the way I dressed, like everything. And I just didn't feel like I had much say in it at the time being, like really super young, naive, total people pleaser. Yeah. I didn't know if he would be upset enough to be violent or if he would write me off and just not want to be with me at all.
What, if anything, were you afraid would happen if you said no to a freak off?
Well, over time, it turned into the fact that there were actually blackmail material to basically make me feel like if I didn't do it, that it would be hung over my head in that way, or that these things would become public. I experienced violence with him before that. The abuse had started before that, so obviously, in the back of my mind,
And Miss Ventura, when you said that the blackmail materials would be hung over your head, what, if anything, were you afraid Mr. Combs, Sean, would do in the blackmail materials?
Release them, put them out on the internet. He had many resources to do that. So,
And you mentioned that at this point, by started, what, if anything, were you afraid would happen physically if you refused to do a freak off?
I mean, it was always in the back of my mind that I would somehow be hurt by him. But it's Sean is a really polarizing person, also very charming. So it's hard to be able to decide in that moment, like, what you need when he's telling you what he wants. I just didn't know. I just didn't know what would happen.
Okay, Miss Ventura, just to clarify one thing that you said you called something blackmail materials. What were you referring to?
Referring to actual videos and photos of the sexual encounters, the escorts.
To be clear, that's the freak offs that you mentioned earlier.
Yes.
Okay. And who was depicted in these videos and photos with the escort?
Me, Sean in some of the videos. Yeah.
Okay. Now we're gonna get back to this, but first, I would you scroll up, Atlas. I would like to direct you. I would like to direct your attention to approximately December 2023. What, if any, items did you provide to the government?
I gave them broken laptops, iPads, phones, things that no longer worked, but I kept because I didn't know what was on them.
And what was the approximate time period that these broken electronic devices were from?
It was around the time period of being in a relationship with Sean.
Shay?
Shay, she here? No, she's not here. Hold on. Is she here? Who was this? Yeah. Oh, Shay, you there? You're not on mute. Shay? Okay. All right, let's see. Who is that? That's Miss Finch. Who is that? Who Miss Johnson? Y'all okay. Riri, just read that.
Okay. Your Honor, may I approach the witness?
You may.
Oh, wait, am I Miss Johnson?
You are Miss Johnson.
Oh, I'm sorry. Your Honor, may I approach I'm so sorry. Your Honor, may I approach the witness?
You may.
Miss Ventura, I've handed you what's been marked for identification as GXB. Do you recognize that I've handed it to you?
Yes,
Have you reviewed the contents of this drive?
I have.
At a high level, what's on the drive?
Different communications and documents pertaining to this trial.
Are those communications and documents from the electronic devices that we just discussed?
Yes,
And do you also review photographs that are contained on that device?
yes,
Are those photographs also from the electronic devices that we've discussed?
yes.
And how do you know that the drive that I just handed you is the drive that you reviewed before this trial?
Because my initials are on it.
Okay. And did you initial the drive after you reviewed it?
I did.
Your Honor, at this time, the government is going to offer some of the materials on that drive. We would offer the exhibits B-101 through B-112, B-201 through B-209. B-301 through B-313, B-315, and 316. I'm sorry, B-315 through 320, B-400A through B-402, B500A through B503, and B600A through B608, and all the subdivisions thereof.
Any objections? Miss Estevio. Let's see. Shay, are you back? Okay, she dropped off. Okay.
Subject to connections, no objections.
Okay, hold on. Okay, cool. All right. They will be admitted. Government's Exhibit B101 through B12 and B201 through B209, B301 through B313, B315 through 320, B400A through B402, B500 through B503, and B600A through B608 received in evidence.
Ms. Gavin, can you please pull up what is in evidence as Government Exhibit B105. Ms. Ventura, who is depicted in Government's Exhibit B-105?
That's me and Kerry Morgan.
With respect to when you first met Sean, is this photograph taken before or after you met Sean?
It might have been taken after, but really close to.
Okay. And approximately what year is this photograph, if you recall?
I feel like this photo is probably around 2004.
And who is Carrie Morgan?
She was my best friend at the time.
And at the time this photograph was taken, where were you living?
I was living in New York City.
And at the time this photograph was taken, what were you doing for working?
I was modeling.
Miss Gavin, can you take that photo down? Miss Ventura, besides Molly, what, if anything, were you doing in the music industry around this same time?
Can you scroll up a little bit?
Sorry,
Thank you. That's okay. Thank you. Around this time, I really wasn't doing too much with the music industry. I had recorded a few songs with a producer I was working with and in a relationship with. And yeah, it was really new for me at this point.
Okay, at this point. Okay, somebody asked as a question? I think it's you, Miss Johnson. Riri? Riri, you there? I see you on here 2 times, Riri. Riri?
I'm back now. I can be Miss Johnson if you need me to.
Okay, go ahead. I'll go ahead and read Miss Johnson.
Is it like going in and out for anybody else?
Yes, me too.
It is going out for y'all?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So let's do this, y'all. Let's see. What time? This is top of page 415. Let's stop here tonight. And we will reconvene. Let's see. So let's take this down. Good job, y'all. I'm sorry I was so doggone choppy with work and stuff like that. I apologize for that.
Oh, you're fine. You good. Do what you gotta
Yeah,
do.
that's
Yeah, House of the Princess, you always welcome. Oh, yeah, you would just hit the link. Yeah. So y'all look, we're gonna so we in the trenches now. So let me take this down. Hold on. So now we can have a conversation, but we are definitely in the trenches now. Let's see, Riri, you back?
You hear me?
Okay, Riri, you back?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you now.
Okay.
Okay. So, all right. So it's what did y'all think? I want to kind of rewind back to what did y'all think about the defense's redirect on or cross examination on Mr. On the dancer? Do y'all feel like he destroyed his credibility, or what did y'all think about him? What did y'all think about how Mr. Donaldson came back at him and took his story and told him, "Don't you remember saying this? Dan, you didn't say it. Dan, why didn't you put this in the paperwork?" And all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. I think they were trying to confuse him and confuse the jury.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that the prosecution came back and
Cleared it back up.
embodied and made it a little bit clearer about what his actual testimony was.
And what's seeming odd to me is how it appeared though in the beginning when they were both starting out the trial, it was like the defense and the prosecution both were like, yes, she was under the influence of drugs at this time, but the prosecution is saying she was under the influence due to duress because Mr. Combs, Sean Diddy made her take the drugs, but the defense is saying no, she was under the influence of drugs whenever, because she wanted to be. But now it's the people that she around to keep saying like, no, she wasn't under the influence of drugs. So either she was under the influence of drugs so much that they thought that was her baseline and never knew when she was sober.
Yeah, I think so. I agree with that.
Yeah, I think so too. Because I think that they became functioning drug addicts. Because if you think about it, as much drugs as they said they were doing, and a lot of the times that they
Y'all here?
Oh, it cut out. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, it cut out. Riri.
hear me.
Yeah, we hear
Okay,
you now.
now we can.
Okay, what I was saying was, I think it probably was their baseline. As much drugs as they probably did, and as many social appearances that they've done, they probably was high as a kite on those on those appearances, but we didn't know. We couldn't even tell.
That's true too.
Yeah, that's what I was saying because people, and then when they said he's saying that they not appearing to be this or appearing to be that, that's why. I mean, they said it was MBNA and in the doggone eye drops. How is that?
And then they said that they were having sex for like 2 hours. They were on something.
Oh hell yeah! You talk 10 hours a day and all that kind of craziness,
right? So
they
had to be on something.
Definitely. And that's what I've been meaning to say this ever since the first night. That's what I kept saying. I was like, these people were so high so much of the time that they were, that's their baseline, is people thought that was this is the sober them because they wake up, get high. During the day, get high. All day long, get high. Go to bed, get high before you go to bed and get high when you wake up. Nobody ever knows to sober you if you stay high all the time.
And Young Miami said that he never goes to sleep. And a lot of other people also said he never goes to sleep.
Yep, and
so
that's what
he had to be high all the time.
Yep.
That's crazy.
And the fact that she's on Suboxone, I was like shocked because I didn't think they gave that to you while you was pregnant. But I guess only when it's necessary.
What's up, Princess AV? How you doing? Princess AV?
She might be muted.
Yeah, I see her box.
Can you hear me?
Oh, we can now.
Yeah, I couldn't hear anything when I first came in.
Welcome.
I just want to show my face virtually.
Well, thanks for coming on. What you got anything to say? What's your take on this so far?
I missed a few parts with Mr. Phillip, but I just think they really kind of setting up, like, he's got some good lawyers, even though he's a trash bag. But just to hear like the rubbing of the oil, all like he's a weirdo, and you could tell that even with the start of Cassie's um, testimony, that it was really a setup, and from a woman's point, if you've ever dated a narcissist or any type of man or that is weird or abusive or even seen it secondhand, like those telltale signs, they are noticeable. And I think people are forgetting. We always talk about, even with the R. Kelly trial, um, oh, she's a woman. She knew what she was doing. You know, you 21, you're an adult, and you know some things, and you think you know some things. But I have a 21 going on 22-year-old girl. And that's what I think, even though she's my daughter, she's a grown woman, she's still a little girl in a lot of ways. And
Mm-hmm.
you know, they be thinking I've been a 21, 22-year-old girl. You be thinking you grown and you can handle things until you get in those situations.
Mm-hmm.
The brain
And
doesn't even fully function
right,
at 21, 20.
we take that for granted. And you know, we be thinking like, oh yeah, she knew what she was doing. She liked it. She might have, known, okay, some freaky things for my man. And that's a lot of money. It's a lot of power. And even with lesser things, sometimes we can get into things and say, oh, I'm going to do this one time, or I'm going to go along with it and see how it is. And once you knee deep in it, and then next thing you know, you're above your head in it and you don't know how to go back. It's like quicksand, basically. And I believe some of that is that what happened to her. She thought, oh, I'll just do this and this will be cool. Not knowing that, okay, now you're going to have to do this every day and he going to use your mouth as a toilet. Like, you know, I feel for her on that level. And I think people need to be more sensitive to that.
That makes sense to me. That makes sense to me. Um, all right, what's up, to be?
Hey. Hi,
So you can come
everybody.
on here, but you can't help us read. Ain't that something? Ain't that something? No, I'm just
I
joking.
was with my husband.
Oh, I know that's right. I know that's right. Johan,
What's up, my brother?
what you thinking, bro?
I missed a lot today,
Okay.
but again, like she was saying, like he got some the difference between this situation and R. Kelly's situation. His lawyers are actually competent. That's they doing what they supposed to do, but it's still, it's still their basis is still it's still the same thing, regardless of what how you it don't matter how you skin the cat, it's still a cat, you know. So I don't know. It still seems the same, but they're still trying to put the as far as put the blame on to where it's like, oh, they want, like she wanted it, like, what I mean. Again, she was aware of what's going on, not knowing or recognizing that it's a manipulation in it. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Yeah, to kind of piggyback off of what Princess said, I think the further that we get away from being in our 20s or any age, just as we get older and we mature, we can see the mistakes that we made. We can see how immature we were in those earlier years.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, Diddy being closer to my age, that man is just sick. He's sick. Like Princess said, he's a narcissist. Um, he definitely views himself as God-like, and that's how he treats everybody. I mean, I worked with him a couple of times on a couple of his different artist videos, and that's exactly how he thinks of himself. He thinks that he's just all to be all.
Yeah, and with that, as far as that age difference, that's why I've always thought that, you know what I mean. And it's, you know, whether regardless if it's an older man, younger woman, younger man, I always felt like now getting older. I mean, when I was young, I thought it was cool, you know what I mean, because I talked to older females or whatever.
Right.
But now, when I think about it now, I've always said this though. The older I got, I can't date nobody. Like my son, my oldest is finna be 22. You know, my son. Like I can't date nobody that's around my son age because
Right.
it's like a walking cheat code. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's nothing that I can say anything and throw anything at you, and you go for it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like it's just it's weird. You know what I mean? It's like you can't deal with nobody on your level at your age range because you know, like 9 times out of 10, they're not going for it.
Exactly.
You know, so you feel like, okay, you know, it's like I don't know if y'all remember, like when Nintendo, the Game Genie used to put the game in put the cartridge in the game, and you had a book of all the cheat codes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like there's no challenge. So it's again it shows that narcissism, and it's only for his own self empowerment.
Right.
You know, to big himself up to make him feel like I'm that guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Exactly.
but and that takes a and that take and it's the but and it's the same exact thing with kind of the same exact thing that it was with R. Kelly. It's that arrested development.
Mm-hmm. And I think that they also do it because they have low self-esteem,
Yeah.
but they want to come off as if they're overconfident,
Hmm.
and they want to try to control and to manipulate people just so that they can feel better about themselves,
When
you
really
know?
they the most insecure people, the people that try to do the most and show the most and present this and present that is usually the most insecure people
Exactly.
and on
But
the inside.
you know what? I didn't even have to hear the Tootsie Roll comment because him and that orange 45-47. I already knew that they wasn't banging and slanging.
45, 47.
They don't give that BDE energy. You
Nah,
know, they have a lot of bitch assness in them. Like
most
if they didn't have money, where would they be? You know what I'm saying?
exactly.
That's the only thing that you have to leverage your life is money in order to get what you want. Like if you got BDE, you know the brokest niggas, they be having some baddies with it, but you know what I'm saying? They don't have to mistreat other people or manipulate people
Nah.
in order
Right.
just to get minimal things.
Again, it's that it was his life. It's the lifestyle that that is his superpower. It's the
Right.
money. You know what I'm saying? Like she was just saying. Like it don't take all that. You know what I mean? If you got and what's crazy, the people that really got money don't have to show that they got money.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Because if that's all it is, you know what that's your angle. Like all you is technically a glorified weird ass trick. That's really what you is.
Right.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like, because
yeah.
it's your money. It's not your personality. It's not your
It's not
charisma. It's not your
right.
mouthpiece. It's not your aura. It's not your energy. It's not your mindset. It's your money and the type of lifestyle that you can provide. And people feel like they got an easy bag, but
Right.
really
Mills,
that bag ain't easy.
so Mills Donna, this is your first time on. What's your take on how things are going so far?
Um, well, I mean, I agree with everything you guys are saying. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. We have to see how it goes, I guess. I don't
Let's say
know.
let's say so far from what you've heard
Uh,
from the transcripts, would you say that the defense is winning, or would you say that the prosecution is proving their case so far? based on
So,
what?
well, so far, I mean, I can't say yet. They both have good points on both sides. I mean, uh, I feel like Cassie though, and I'm not putting anything like against her. Like, I agree with everything you said. She was young, she was like abused, but I also feel like with the Kid Cudi and everything, like I feel like she kind of did things to make him jealous a little bit.
Of
I don't
course,
know.
Oh, okay. You think she was instigating it?
Please.
of
Not
course. I agree. I can agree.
do
It's
you
natural.
do you know what I mean? Like, I mean, I don't. She doesn't deserve anything that happened to her, but I don't know.
Well, here's my thing. This is, and I guess this is just from a male's point of view. Like, you would think that with her actually, I mean, she was an artist. She was a pretty successful artist. Like, yeah, I know P Diddy had a
What?
you know influence over her, but like she made herself really look like she didn't value herself at all. I mean, how can you let this man, this total stranger stripper, just have sex with you without no condom and you don't know him? And you don't, like, do you not value your own life, your own self?
A
Like,
little bit. A
where was
little bit. It's a
I
little
don't.
bit of that. But again, it's more. It's very complicated and a real gray area. It's like once you in there, you be like, how can I get out? I'm not saying that when I say
Yeah,
that I ain't never done that shit.
yeah,
But
but it's,
you know,
you tell
You
some
what do
have
people don't know how to go that far. You know, stuff.
you have to think she was already being beaten before this started, so she was already a victim. She might have already had low self esteem because she's in an industry that you have to really have high enough self esteem and confidence to hear no all the time. That industry hears no all the time. She hadn't really made it yet. When she met him, so she probably had been receiving a lot of no's. Plus, it also seems like just going off of the fact that she did this for so many years that she already had low self esteem. That her self esteem was not high enough to pull herself out of that. So
but
I think she went into a relationship already. No matter how beautiful we see her on the outside, she might not have saw her own beauty. She might not have saw her own value.
yeah,
but
So
this is
she
but this
stayed
is I
in
guess
it.
this is what I'm trying to say. And I agree with you. It makes sense. But what I'm saying is, where is the part where she says to Diddy, listen, let's at least make sure that these people that I'm having sex with unprotected don't got no HIV or AIDS. I don't want to give that to you. Let's at least make sure that we screen these people. When Mr. What was his name? The stripper, what's his name? Yeah.
Punisher, whatever.
Punisher.
The
Punisher.
Punisher.
Yeah. When he went over there, he was a stranger to them.
Right. You don't know Buddy is from
Okay,
a can
let
of
He
me
was
paint.
a fill-in.
let me interject on that point. Cause I'm gonna tell you, I am a Puffy. I used to have Puffy on my wall in 8th grade. So I followed his career loosely. First of all, I think he said that he takes the HIV/AIDS test like every couple of weeks, once a month, like pretty frequently. But also in the sex industry, I believe I would be to think he used those companies because in order to be an escort, y'all have to take
Test,
HIV/AIDS
STD
test
test, stuff like that.
on a consistent basis. So I think that was maybe a trust factor there because they know they can get sued.
But
Also,
didn't
So Lesnar one,
but
Lesnar one had a couple. We're gonna read some comments from the chat. Lesnar one said, so he can date several women, but if she dates, he assaults her and threatens her because dude has a nasty kink in watching men and licking off semen off of her body. Wow.
ugh,
now
Yeah.
look, that one, the semen on the nipples, that's crazy.
that's
Well,
gross.
he
That is
testified that she wanted that, but he didn't want her to use any condoms. That's crazy.
yeah, that semen on the nipple joint. I
you should really
that's what slipped my mind. Now that's what I wanted to. Okay, I'm glad you brought that up, my brother. Hey,
he,
hey,
Man,
that is weird, dog. Look, okay,
We
look.
got hold on, y'all. We got one trying to come on. Let me see. Did anybody Males? Are you did you have any other points you wanted to make?
No, I'm good. I just want to say thank you.
Sure. Hey, you're welcome anytime. You read very well. And you'll be a great addition to this reading. Thank you for coming in here and helping us make history.
All right, thank you for having me.
No problem.
All
Good night,
right.
Rose.
All right, let me bring Shay in.
The semen
All right,
on
Shay,
the
we had enough
nipples,
room to
though.
bring you on. You on? You hear me?
Okay.
All
Yeah.
right.
Man,
Yeah, it was
that
quite.
that I heard all that, and I heard that before. I was waiting to get to that part. That is that's weird. I'm a
So hold
whole
on. So he would have the stripper ejaculate on her breast and then take her in the room and lick it off
rub it on. No, she would rub it on his nipples.
on P-Diddy nipples.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you would have her encapsulate the juices like they would have to do it on the outside.
that's
Not on
that,
her.
that's
You know what
weird.
else was sick too? I just thought about when he asked the dude when the stripper said that he had faked having an orgasm inside of her, and P Diddy came out and said,
Yeah.
"Hey, are you sure? I don't see nothing in here. What is you looking?
Right.
What?
That's what I'm saying. That's a different type of weird, man.
Right.
I don't even want my own on me, let
I
alone
think
another somebody
why
else.
you don't be gay.
That's
Just
what I'm
be
saying. That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. Now, if you gay, then you can do all this little weird gay stuff. You can get whoever to skeet on you, dog. I'm telling you, somebody you do it. I don't want my own on me, let alone somebody else's. That's just nasty.
Yeah, that's weird as hell.
That's super weird. My man got a weird old cape. He is the Superman of weirdos.
Give him a weird of the century.
Man, look, that's what I'm saying. We thought R. Kelly was bad. This dude,
Yeah, man, he got a whole nother level.
man, he done ate a power pellet and just level. Man,
Yeah.
that's
Crazy.
gross. That's gross, and it's sick on a lot of different other levels. Like you can't tell me you ain't got some type of you can sit up here and try to say it to the cows come home to whatever. You ain't gay, dog. You super
Right.
gay. You
There's
super gay.
nothing that he can say that's gonna convince me that he's not.
No, that's super gay.
And there was some song that he did, that I think he was I think that he worked with some other artists. I think it was some other artist's song, and he was just did a spot on it. But talking about that he wanted to just be who he really wanted. And I know when I heard that out in the lyrics, I took it as he just wanted to come out, but he can't come out.
They be leaving little breadcrumbs in their stuff. If you really listen to it, they be saying a lot of suspect stuff.
They really do.
I'm still baffled off one line that Biggie said years ago.
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah,
Man, listen,
looks so good. I
I
suck
suck
on
on
the
you.
daddies. Never been. Yeah. Oh my
Listen,
god,
I ain't never in my life.
bro,
I've seen a lot of beautiful women. I ain't never in my
bro,
life seen one that
bro.
make me
Listen,
want to go say, "Hey, bring your
bro,
pops. Tell them to come here."
bro.
Big
Listen,
said a lot more than just one line
Oh
that
no, he
I'm
did.
finding out.
bro. When I first, I am the biggest Biggie Smalls fan, biggest. And when I
Are
heard
you
that
say
line,
what I'm
it's like,
thinking?
say it again.
I said, are you about to say what I was thinking?
I don't know.
Go ahead.
What was you thinking?
Go ahead.
No, I was a big fan of his until I heard that. And I still like his music, but that made me really think like, was he gay?
Did you think about this? Okay, what song is it? One More Chance. So Biggie, we call him Frank White.
Mm-hmm.
Diddy calls himself Frank Black.
Mm. Mm.
Am I missing something with the Frank White and Biggie
Because
reference?
I know Frank
Frank
White
White.
is from Kings. Is from Christopher Walken with Kings in New York.
Okay.
Right.
Now the Frank Black, I don't know. The ref, it's still okay. What it's kind of okay. He's copying. He's pretty much biting off the same thing. Look, I remember. I figured that, like I seen this after. That's like in that Big Papa video. Like it was like when they was in the bathroom, that was a whole dude, that was a whole transgender in the bathroom.
I
That first
heard.
time it was on the floor that they was kissing on.
Yes, yes, yes.
There
And
was a
then
whole
in that
transgender.
in the
Yeah.
and she was in he, she, they, it, whatever it is, was in the Craig Mack bring it in, bring it Flavor in Your Ear remix. And LL was like, he, she?
Oh wow.
Yeah. And now on in the Juicy video, now when they were sitting on the yacht and they, Biggie was just sitting there in the jersey and everybody was standing there, it was a dude in the bathing suit.
Mm.
I mean, like a whole dude in a ladies' bathing suit, and I think my man had titties. I'm not sure.
Oh wow. I wouldn't put it past it because the entertainment industry
Now
that
don't
just
let
never
me put
played
up.
wrong.
We're not against. I got gay people. I
No,
love.
no, 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 not against
I
it.
don't want
But
nobody thinking that we gay
no,
bashing because we
no,
not.
no, not at all, not at all. You be who you be. You be who you are and own up to who you are. What I'm saying was they've been doing a little sprinkling and laying little breadcrumbs and pushing that, what I mean, that just it's been right there in front of us. We just ain't seen it.
I think they all are. And as we compare, because yeah, I really got to get back online now. I didn't somewhat finish school. The hard part was the semester. Uh, as we start to go in between the two, and you could compare the similarities of Diddy and R. Kelly. I feel like this is my personal theory. I feel like early on, maybe Diddy wasn't doing all this nasty stuff. And I'm sure that he saw things at Hollywood parties. But I feel like R. Kelly probably helped him. And because there's some of I've read, you know, Portia's book and some other books and her stories about the way R. Kelly, has sex plus what we read in the transcript. I see some similarities there. With the tapings. Um, I know somebody they had to take apart the Colorado room after R. Kelly moved out, and he said it was, still some remnants of things there. The camera, the dungeon, the rooms that you do that. So I will say, at least Diddy was different. He usually went to the hotel, but there's still that same sexual demon with the piss and the rubbing of the oils on the people. And I think we probably told him, yeah, you videotape, you do this to yourself. And, there's differences, but there are a lot of similarities as well.
I
Shay,
feel
what you
like
got to say, Shay?
Well, I just know that, honey, it's getting deep, and I feel like it's back and forward, back and forward. One time, a little bit it'll be looking like the prosecution is winning, then it'll go and you'll be like, well, the
yeah.
government eating them up right now. So
Yeah.
it's definitely too. If you ask me, too early to call it, and we're gonna need more stuff to substantiate all of these things because as people have stated, this is for his life. I mean, this is for the rest of this man's life, and I would hate for the jury, especially the jury, because they're the one who has his life in their hands. I would hate for them to, not take everything into, account. They definitely need to make sure that it's what they want to do, and
I'm gonna
because
tell
that's
y'all the truth.
deep.
I think this gonna come down to who got the best lawyers.
Yep,
Yeah.
and it ain't what happened, but it's what you can prove.
Yep.
And all they need is one person, just one
Yeah,
idiot
that's.
person,
Mm-hmm.
to be like, oh, man, this P Diddy, why trying to take the black man down? Oh my
Yep.
God.
Right.
Always.
And they
Mistrial.
said that one woman I already looked when she was talking in mouth, she lying.
Mm,
One of the jurors.
yep. So, and here's the thing too, y'all. You never know who and where and how and what P Diddy got out here. If he had them people that was going to people's houses that was talking about the case,
I was
Uh,
just gonna say
did y'all
that.
hear about that? That's nothing.
Yeah.
Go around and say, hey, one of your family members, a juror, tell her we're gonna pay her
Yep.
$100,000 if she just goes ahead and talk about this. We'll pay her $1 million. If it's coming from a third party, you'll never know. You'll
I'm
never.
telling you, his money is long.
Money long.
Money long.
That's when I was a teenager.
You never know.
Really embarrassing.
Yep.
So,
Dramatic.
that's the crazy part about it. And I feel like another thing why so many similarities to all the stuff that's going on, because it's deeper than just like it's always something else. I feel like it's deeper than just the physical because people don't really realize or pay attention to or understand. It started in the spiritual first. They dealing with this. They got the same type of sexual deviance, them spirits in them.
Yes.
That pissing on people and this debauchery, all that is nothing but debauchery. You know, so they got that whole deviant behavior. That's demonic. That's a lust.
It really is.
They have the same sexual demon. Well, they have a very big sexual demon.
Yeah.
On them, but the music, the whole entertainment industry does.
Yeah.
You know, that's what that entertainment industry is about. That's just a devil's playground.
Mm-hmm.
It's called the succubus spirit.
The succubus of the incubus of the succubus.
Yeah.
Diddy got them both.
Mm-hmm. And once you give your soul over to it, you know,
you fighting it. You constantly trying to feed it. You constantly trying to feed it. And then you opening your spirit up while you on all these different drugs. That ain't doing nothing but inducing it. So now you go chase that. You gonna chase that drag.
Yeah.
I lost my virginity at a very early age, so some of this stuff is really traumatic to me. But I am enjoying some of it too. But it's just that I have to choose my battles. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so I'm still gonna read for you, Atmos. Don't give up on me.
It's all voluntary. I appreciate everybody that comes on and does this. It's not easy doing this. I know y'all been working all doggone day, and you know you got to get up in the morning and stuff like that. So it's a sacrifice for everybody. So I do appreciate everybody that does it. I do. But it's 12:10. We've been on here for about 3 hours now. So I want to go ahead and wrap this up for the night. I want y'all to know that I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I'm thinking if we don't come back tomorrow, we're gonna probably come back on Sunday. Maybe we could do a little early on Sunday, maybe like maybe 8, if that's possible, and a couple hours and get back because now we in Cassie, so it's it's in the meat and potatoes now,
Right.
Let's just plan for Sunday at 8 to come back on. And ladies, I would definitely need y'all because it seems like it's most of the female lawyers and plus Cassie will be on the stand. So that'll be greatly appreciated. Okay.
Okay.
Well, listen, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Does anybody else want to say anything while you're up here?
Let's see what it's gonna get to.
We'll just keep plugging away and just see where it goes. It looks like I agree with what everybody's saying, that it's tit for tat. One day it looks like the defense, and another day it looks like it's the prosecution. So it could go either way.
It could go either way. Yep. So that's what it is. To everyone out there who is going to watch this after, thank you for watching the channel. Please hit the like button if you do like this content. If you want to be a blessing to the channel to help us get transcripts, I could really use y'all. Right now, I just got 2 days. If we could, I definitely want to go ahead and because we got finished with day 1. We're in day 2 now. We're gonna run straight through this. I definitely want to continue to get these things. So anytime you want to be a blessing, you see I have the stuff running across the bottom. You want to do the Cash App is $Lady K Online, or paypal.me@atmoslove or Apple Pay at my phone number, or you can also Zelle. So God bless you all. Thank y'all for being here. Also, if you do place an order, you do want the transcripts. I know there are some bloggers out there that want to read the transcripts for their own channels. I don't mind sharing. I did that a lot with the R. Kelly thing. So just be a blessing to the channel. Help us get ours, and we'll be a blessing back to you. Okay? But God bless y'all. Y'all have a blessed night.
Thank you. You have a nice.
Thank you.
All right, bro.
No problem.
Bye,
Thank you.
everybody.
Okay, good night.
Take care. Bye-bye.